Holy crap.
People persist in doubting the evidence.
Don't run and hide. Don't be afraid. Don't turn away any longer. The truth will set you free.
If the game is rigged, change the game.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Game changer, game changer, game changer, game changer. The Game Changer Radio Network.
Turning all of our antennas towards Jimmy Church.
And now, your host, the captain of conspiracy, the prince of paranormal. This ain't your daddy's radio network show. This is Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
What up, what up? How you doing? How you doing? That's the question. How you doing? This is Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. That's right. Today is Wednesday, July 1st. Yeah. Just a few days away from potty time. 183 days into the new year, 182 days left. Right smack bam down the middle. How you doing? All right, let's go. Fired up. We are live from the City of Angels Studios right here in Burbank, California. COA Vapor. Makers of the Fade to Black e-juice. And it's called Fader Loops. That's right. Got it right here. I do. Just go to the COA banner at jimmychurchradio.com. You can use the promo code Jimmy, Jimmy, for the Fade or Not special. Let's get this show cracking. I'd like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black. For KJCR and the Game Changer Network and KGRA, the planet. I am your oh so humble host, Jimmy Church. Holy crap, let's get this show cracking. I'm ready. Tonight, Betsey Lewis is here. I've always wanted Betsey on the show. And tonight's the night. I want to do Betsey's show. That's what I want to do. I mean, she can come on in here and hang out anytime she wants. I want to go do Betsey's show. The call-in number, 323-825-5045. Betsey put the number out on her website, and which is cool because, you know, she does her own show. But she's like, hey, I'm going to go do Fade to Black. And here's the call-in number. So there you go. All right, Betsey's going to be joining us here shortly. You can also Skype in Fade2Black14. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do, at JChurchRadio. Come hang out in the sandbox. The sandbox is hashtag F2B. Hashtag F and the number 2B. Okay? That's simple. So today I went over to City of Angels Vapor, went to hang out with the, I guess you could say the board members, the executive top two dogs. So I went over and got hooked up with some hardware, and I posted some of the pictures, and then Wowo went with the very chic European all-white kit. But anyway, aside from that, what was really cool is they have a lounge, right? So you walk in this joint, and I swear to God, you walk into one of these vape lounges, and it should be illegal. I mean, it just looks wrong. It looks like it looks wrong in some people's eyes. With me, it looks totally correct. when you walk in there, it's like, man, this is the place to be. And bunch of people in there. But anyway, the vape, the steam, what have you, is so thick. I swear to you, I couldn't see to the other side. It was big too. And it was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. We're looking at these very stylistic vapors blowing these massive smoke rings, 20 of them in a row, pop, 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 pop. And how thick, I don't know how they do it. That's some practice. Anyways, it was pretty fun. Had a great time over there, so I just want to tell everybody thank you. And I got to tell you, City of Angels Vapor, they really care. Really cool. So anyway, looking at when you go to one of these places and you look at how many types of e-juice that there is out there, organic, not organic, different flavors, chemical free, no nicotine, loaded nicotine, it's all in there. And, so anyway, looking at, the City of Angels shelves full of stuff and the respect, it's really cool. City of Angels Vapor, man, had a really good time today. All right. I'm still recovering. Good time. And so there you go. City of Angels Vapor. They do make the Fade to Black e-juice, which is called Fader Loops. And it is, I want to get off of this really quick and get to the show, but it's a fruity, loopy, creamy cereal vibe. That's what that is. And it's really good stuff. So I told the guys at City of Angels tomorrow night is Jimmy just called vapor because it's water vapor. It's not smoke. Smoke comes from burning something. I know that. I said steam. I call it steam. I don't know what to call it. But, man, it was thick. How can steam? It was like I was walking into, my bathroom when I left the shower on for 15 minutes. It was insane. So anyway, there you go. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the COA banner. Everybody's vaping today. And I promise them tomorrow on camera, I'll get belligerent. And there you go. All right. Tonight, Betsey Lewis. Tomorrow night, Mike Barra is going to be here live in the studio with me tomorrow night for Rock and Rule Trivia. Because now this is going to be, tomorrow's going to be week number 4. I've had 3 weeks of getting myself pummeled pretty good. Last week we did okay. We, closed the gap a little bit. But I've had 3 weeks of, so I'm serious. I'm bringing in the big guns tomorrow, Mike Barra, and we're going to, we got to do something. I got to win one of these nights, man. I got to. So I'm giving it my best shot tomorrow. Mike Barra will be live in the studio. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay? All right. Big salute to the proud men and women in uniform all around the world fighting the good fight for us. You really need to think about that. Independence Day is coming up, July 4th, and I am an American, and we all know that. We're all Americans. But, here in the United States, around the world. But I'm an American, and Independence Day is a great day. Have you ever, who has been out there in the audience tonight? Who has been to Ashland, Oregon for the Independence Day parade? Who has been there for July 4th? I want to know. Just tell me in Twitter, because I've been there a couple of times for the July 4th celebrations that they have up there in Ashland. I've done July 4th all around the United States like the rest of us have. But something really special goes on there in Ashland. I can't even describe it. There's a very special thing that goes on up there. And so I just want to know, July 4th is a very special day for me. And it's, it's friends and family and thinking about this great country of ours. And then every July 4th, for some reason, my mind always travels back to those few times that I spent up there in Ashland, Oregon for the 4th of July parade, because it'll choke you up. it's an amazing thing, and it's a small town, and they get it on. So, just wondering, anybody out there, and tweet me. Let me know what you think of that. All right, let's go. Let's get this show cracking. I'm ready. T-shirts. Man, we can't seem to not sell them. Jimmy, if the game is rigged, change the game. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's just like the normal thing now is just to ship out, box loads of shirts every single day. Thank you, everybody. The next round of, we ran out of 2XLs, so everybody out there that's waiting for 2XLs, please understand, we sold out. I cannot believe it. And it was a lot of shirts. This is not a small amount of shirts, but we've got, I think we take delivery on those tomorrow morning. So if we do everything correctly, we should be able to get your 2XLs out. Everybody else around the country, around the world, and that includes shipments to the UK, shipments to Canada, shipments to Australia, everything has gone out, and I'm waiting. Now, so when you get your shirts, please take a picture and email or tweet it out where you are in your shirt. We'll get it up on the website. We'll put it up on the Fade or Not page. Also, we'll get it out there on Twitter, and we'll put it up on Facebook. And let's do this. Let's show our colors to the world. They should be arriving. Everything is gone and out there. So looking forward to that. Thank you. And if you want to get your shirts, just go to jimmychurchradio.com. You can click on Black Market. We have 2 versions of the shirts that are available. Now, I'm going to tell you right now how cool we are here. And trust me, we're pretty friggin' cool. Just to let you know, international shipping to Australia for a shirt is $19 and change. Okay? We charge $10 for shipping. It cost us $20. That's how it goes. Inside of the United States, it's about the same thing. Everything is just, but enjoy. Okay? It doesn't matter to us. And people ask me, look, we have one international fee. That's it. That's all there is there. That's all that's tacked onto the shirt, $10. So if you live in the UK, you're going to get your shirt for $10. It might cost us $25, $30 to ship it, but we're going to get you your shirts. Okay? We want you to wear the colors. Wear them. Okay? So just go to jimmychurchradio.com. Click on the Black Market. All of the shirt sizes are there. We have the very limited edition of the Fade to Black crew shirts from Contact in the Desert. Very limited supply of those. We probably have under 50. Very, very, very limited, So get those. Those are there. Very limited edition. And if you want those signed, I'll sign those. Okay? I'll sign them in gold. But if you want to wear it, I don't know why you'd want me to sign it. But it's kind of weird, too. Why would you want me to sign a shirt? I've signed out of I don't know how many hundreds of shirts this past week. I've signed like half. What do you do? Aren't you wearing the shirt because you can't wash it? You're not going to hang that on your wall. And then what are you going to do? Fold it up and put it in your drawer? So then nobody sees it. It's on. I don't get it. You're not going to frame it. Who in the right mind would frame? So what's the deal with that? But anyway, I'll sign it for you. All right. Okay. Let's go. Guest request, Charlie Ledouf, Michael Anderson. I got your email about that earlier today. Thank you. All right. Come to Bay City, Michigan. We have a great show here Saturday night. 36,000 shells in 36 minutes. What? 36,000 shells. Oh, man. Hey, I've got some video. We're heading to, I spaced everything. I got some video of us launching some shells out of the backyard. I should post those. Can I get arrested for that? Can I get arrested? Well, I want to get arrested. That would be fun. But could I get arrested for posting launching mortars in the backyard. Then they find out it's me, and then they would find out where I'm at. Is that possible? I'm wondering. All right. Today, are you ready? Deborah Harry is 70 years old. 70. And Dan Aykroyd is 63. Now, Deborah Harry's 70. She looks great. Dan Aykroyd is 7 years younger, and he doesn't. Dan Aykroyd, 63 years old. So, I'm heading to a break. Twitter, favorite Dan Aykroyd movie. And, man, the list is long. I'll help you out. Of course, top of the heap, at least for me, Blues Brothers. But it's not my winner, by the way. Blues Brothers, Trading Places, Coneheads, Dragnet, Spies Like Us, hilarious movie. Ghostbusters, say no more. Loose Cannons, which was really good. But I got to tell you, you know what my sleeper is for Dan Aykroyd? Gross Point Blank. He was awesome in that movie. He was perfect in that movie. He was able to be himself in that movie. I love Gross Point Blank. What's your favorite Dan Aykroyd movie? He is the man. Well, there's also Dan Aykroyd on UFOs. David Sereda. That's legit. That's the real deal. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet tonight. Betsey Lewis is with us. Tomorrow night, Mike Barra live in the studio on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow us on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. I'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I gotta tell you, it was a relief. National Tax Experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. It doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil three-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station where the Fader-Knots rock.
Wow. Everybody digs Grosse Point Blank. Blues Brothers is there. You know, I see Ghostbusters, but I think everybody is kind of in agreement on that. Grosse Point Blank was one of those movies, nearly perfect. Great soundtrack, too. Some good bloody scenes. Funny. Joan Cusack. Oh, here's a trivia question. The waitress that comes up to them when they're at the cocktail bar, not the diner for breakfast. That was a good scene too. The monkey. Who was the waitress that came up and took their drink order. Remember when Cusack couldn't sit with his back to the wall? Remember that? Okay. That scene, who was the waitress? Okay. All right. Well, I'll give it away. That was John Cusack's other sister. Yeah. Joan Cusack was hilarious in that movie. Man, just absolutely great. Yeah, Driving Miss Daisy. Michael Anderson comes in with that. That was actually one of Aykroyd's better flicks, too. Les Johnson comes in too late with his sister. He thinks he's on time. But anyway, Grosse Point Blank. Okay, so before I get to the news that you know nothing about, and I've also got more follow-up on the dark net, deep web, the dark underbelly of the internet. We're going to be doing that tonight, too, as well. But I can't let this go because last week we did this, I think it was with Race. Race was on the show. And the best Dan Aykroyd line, movie quote, ever. What is it? Now, man, and that's a tough call because he's got, and especially in Grosse Point Blank, too, he's got some amazing lines in that. And you can quote Blues Brothers all day long. It's easy to do because they're memorable. And so what's the best? And I spelled Cusack wrong. I said Cusack. It's Cusack with a C. Sorry about that. And so I jumped on the net today, and I could not believe how many websites are committed to Scamods. There you go, Michael Anderson. Scamods are committed to Dan Aykroyd lines. There are hundreds of websites out there. So I took a peek, and it's all good stuff. But I have mine. I have mine right here. And Michael Anderson just came in. Yes, he was also in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. He was great in that. Absolutely great. This is mine. I just have to go there. And yes, it's dark and we're wearing sunglasses. Okay, but it's got to be, for me, it's got a cop motor, a 440 cubic inch plant. It's got cop tires, cop suspensions, cop shocks. It's a model made before catalytic converters, so it'll run good on regular gas. What do you say? Is it the new Bluesmobile or what? Oh, man, cop tires, cop gas. All right. Does this poll work? Oh, man, I love this show. All right, I love you guys. And it's just really funny that I thought that I was going to say Grosse Point Blank and everybody was going to go, huh? Didn't see that. But for everybody to go, dude, you're spot on the money. Grosse Point Blank. The scene with Queen under pressure at the prom and the baby right there. Okay. All right. Follow us on Twitter at JChurch Radio, Facebook, YouTube. You know what to do. And I hadn't done this in a while, but man, I didn't even realize we were over 10,000 subscribers on the YouTube page. I'm like, holy crap, where did that come from? It was like it came out of nowhere. Wow. All right, tonight, Betsey Lewis here in 5 minutes. Do you feel tired all the time? I don't. I used to, but now I take Power Vites. Power Vites. I take them every day live on the show. Somebody sent me a message today. I'm doing it right now live on the air. Love my Power Vites. Somebody sent me a message today, and it was on Facebook. It said, so Jimmy, do you take Power Vites because they're a sponsor, or do you take them because you like them and they're good for you? I take them because they're good for me. That's why I take them. I have the one thing, vitamins are vitamins, but when you do a testimonial on something, it better work. And there's one thing that I noticed that was happening to me over the last couple of years, and the timing is exactly the same. I was just having digestion problems. And one of the things that I do that I shouldn't do, my work schedule, people, is my dinner time is 11 o'clock at night. When you get home from work at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, you sit down to dinner at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. That's what you do after work. My after work, I clock out at 10 o'clock. So my dinner time is at 11. And my stomach wasn't right. Power Bites have straightened all of that out. It's amazing to me what these have done for me. I don't care what anybody says. I love my Power Bites. Love my Power Bites. Power Bite, they are a complete multiple vitamin mineral formula designed to naturally boost your energy. They have the same good bacteria found in better yogurts. Think about that for a second. The Green Turtle Bay Vitamin Company are dedicated nutritionists and have been producing Power Bites for over 20 years right here in America, right here in the United States of America. They produce high-quality nutritional, dietary, and health supplements in small, fresh, potent batches, and they ship direct to you. Go to their website right now, energywave.com. That's energywave.com. Use the promo code KGRA and get free shipping on your order. You can also call 1-800-TURTLE-5. Live operators are standing by. 1-800-887-8535. On this day in history in 1979, the first Sony Walkman goes on sale. And that, to me, that was like the ushering in of the new era, wasn't it? Think about that. The Sony Walkman. Remember that with the little headphones for the first time? That sound. He popped that cassette in and he hit play, and it sounded amazing. You remember that? That was the beginning of, that wasn't the 60s. That was now. That's what the Sony Walkman did. Changed everything. Here's a fader fact for you. The Donner Party, before perishing in Sierra Nevada, they ate pets. They ate grass, bones, cloth, twigs, glue, strings, snow, and then each other. And that is a fader fact. All right. I had a couple of news things I wanted to get to, and let me see if I can squeeze one in before the break. Maybe two. Are you ready? Almost $500 million worth of smuggled frozen meat, some of it rotting and more than 40 years old, has been seized in China. More than 100,000 tons of chicken wings, beef, and pork worth up to $483 million were seized in a nationwide crackdown. The state-run China Daily newspaper said, yes, 40 years old and being sold to us. Think about that. Before NASA's planned mission to send humans to Mars in 2030, it will most likely send up humanoid robots to the planet first, the IEEE Spectrum reported on last week. The U.S. Space Agency wants to use its R5 Valkyrie robot, which failed to reach the finals of the recent DARPA Robotics Challenge because it couldn't communicate with its operators. But that's what they're going to send up first. They want to use this to explore the surface of Mars and communicate with it remotely. Now, I posted this on Facebook last week when I saw it. I had to, in case you didn't see it, jetpacks are about to go on sale. This is no joke. The New Zealand-made Martin jetpack first flew in public in 2008, and earlier this past winter opened for public trading for the first time. You can expect to buy the jetpacks in the second half of next year. They are now in production, but don't jump too quick. Yeah, you can buy it, and you can cruise around, and it's technically a jetpack, and it's cool, but it's expected to retail between $150,000 and $200,000. And that's part of the news that you know nothing about. I'll get to the rest of it later on tonight. And the dark web, the deep web. Got a lot to talk about. This is Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, the planets taking over the world. That's what we're doing and loving every minute of it. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. When I come back, we'll be joined with Betsey Lewis. Stay right there.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hi, this is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Today, everybody, the Fadernauts and planet Earth is vaping. And I'm very proud to announce our very own e-juice. When we were approached by City of Angels Vapor about Fade to Black e-juice, I wanted to make sure that it was the very best and that the flavors were something that I could create myself. And we did just that. Introducing Fade to Black Fader Loops. This will take you right back to Saturday morning cartoons and your favorite bowl of Fruity Loopy cereal. Just click on the banner or go to www.coavapor.com. Enter the promo code Jimmy for the Fadernaut special. That's www.coavapor.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
Imagine no longer being tied down to your computer, but having the freedom to take live talk radio with you anywhere you go. TalkStream Live introduces our first ever iPhone application. The talk shows you follow now follow you, and your iPhone is now the fastest and easiest way to stay connected to the best talk radio on the internet. Let TalkStream Live transform the way you listen to radio. Listen to live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mobile talk radio from TalkStream Live. Now available in the iTunes App Store.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Attention, all Fadernauts. Studio Dome has a special deal on their SD1 Bluetooth speaker. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on their banner, enter the promo code Jimmy, and you get $40 off and free shipping on the SD1. It's voice activated, comes with a USB antenna, cables, and a carry bag. Never listen to your phone, tablet, or laptop speakers ever again. It's the only way to listen to Fade to Black. That's JimmyChurchRadio.com. Studio Dome banner, promo code Jimmy. Go back, Lee Tappy. All right, welcome back. This is Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. How you doing, everybody? All right, let's get comfortable. Tonight is going to be one of those shows. This is Femme Fatale Week here on Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, and it has been all female knowledge all week long here on the show, and it has been a great week. And so tonight, I want everybody to get comfortable, get your drink of choice, your smoke of choice, get comfortable, pull up your blankie, and just enjoy the program, because this is what late night radio is all about. I say it all the time, but we are very fortunate to bring guests like this to you every single night. Betsey Lewis, yes, an author, internationally known, renowned psychic medium, radio host, and Earth Mysteries investigator. She inherited the gift of prophecy from her mother. At 8 months old, she experienced her first paranormal event with her parents, and then by age 3, Betsey began communicating with spirit guides, and at age 7, she was chased by a massive UFO. Betsey has investigated UFO sightings, cattle mutilations, angels, aliens, ancient petroglyphs for the past 40 years. She practices Reiki, cryo yoga, astrology, tarot, numerology, past life hypnosis. Currently, she provides psychic readings for the international clientele and has hosted the Rainbow Vision radio show since 2009. Radio and television interviews include she's been on Idaho's KTVB, KIVI morning show, the Dr. Michael weekly television show on Fox, KTKK's The Fringe, The X Zone, Ground Zero, and Coast to Coast AM. Her published books, Never Can Say Goodbye, Answers to Life's Greatest Questions, earth energy return to ancient wisdom, angels, aliens, and prophecy, the connection, and then angels, aliens, and the prophecy to the angel alien agenda, communicating with the other side, true experiences of a psychic medium, and mystic revelations of 13, the key to Earth's destiny. She also writes children's books, by the way, which include Alexander Phoenix and the Seven Sacred Virtues. That sounds like something I'd want to read. The Story of Rainbow Eyes, and A Worm Named Sherm. I would like to welcome to the program for the first time, Betsey Lewis. Betsey, how are you tonight?
Oh, great, Jimmy. Thank you for having me on the show tonight. It's great to be on.
The deal is now I get to do your show. That's the deal. It's a trade.
I am thrilled. I'm so honored. I'd love to have you on my show.
Oh, man.
I can't wait.
I can't wait. It'll be awesome. And like I said, it's a trade. It's an even trade. It's a trade.
Yeah.
So there you go. Hi. So you're up in Idaho.
Yes. Born and raised in Idaho, but I spent 25 years in Los Angeles, worked for the studios, Burbank. I know it well. I miss it.
Yeah, really? So we're in Burbank. You know that. Where were you down here?
I was there. My mom and I moved to Los Angeles in '67, and I left LA in '89.
89. What part of Burbank were you in?
Well, I worked in Burbank.
Okay.
I worked for Disney Studios. I worked for the Disney Channel.
Right.
I did some work at Warner Brother Records.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I know all of those campuses really well. That Warner Brothers building, I know it like the back of my hand, right there on Warner Avenue off of Riverside.
Yeah.
You know life is good when you got your own street, right?
You bet.
Oh, man. And most people don't know, unless you've been here to Burbank, there's houses and you can live here. That's certainly true. But Burbank truly, honestly, is just television and movies. I don't know what the acreage is. But if you think about how big of a lot that Disney has or Warner Brothers, I mean, it's humongous. And then you have all of the other, you have NBC and you have all of the, like you said, the Disney Channel, ABC is here, and how much space they occupy in Burbank. And television and film production is a way of life here. I have no idea, but I would guess that I would say that 75% of anybody that lives in Burbank works in television or film. That's it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. I would say that. Or if you don't work directly, then you work for somebody that does. That's pretty much it. That's what goes on here. So, what I wanted to ask you about Idaho, though, is I've only been there. Oh, maybe 2 or 3 times, and I was always there in the winter. I was never there in the summer. I'm assuming it warms up, but is it? You're a couple of blocks from Santa's Village, and so.
Well, I'm in Boise, and Boise on Sunday was 110. We usually don't get those temperatures until late July or August.
Right.
And it's crazy. Everybody is seeing incredible weather, extreme weather right now.
It's 110 in Boise?
It was. We're down to 103 today.
Oh, man. It was cooler in Burbank than it was. Not by much, though. We've been tapping triple digits now for a couple of weeks, and
wow.
It's kind of like the gates of hell down here right now. It is pretty warm. It's pretty warm.
Oh, the valley is the worst.
Let's move on from that subject.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what I wanted to do, and one of the fun things about you, Betsey, is when I listen to you on the radio, and when you talk about your visions and prophecy and stuff, it's pretty chilling stuff. And I want to get to some of that, but I also want to get to good prophecy too. Not all, it's not all dark all the time, is it?
Well, no, but we're going through a big transition right now on Earth. There's a lot of things coming up for our planet. And I had dreams about it when I was 7 years old after my UFO experience. I don't know where these dreams came from, but I had recurring dreams over and over of just volcanoes going off, earthquakes. I would be on a pier and great big tsunami waves coming in, incredible winds. So I've expected these times, and here we are in what's happening to our planet, sinkholes forming around the world. We're hearing these mysterious booms and roars around the world. There's earthquakes increasing. We're seeing some really big earthquakes. And of course, they're saying like 40 volcanoes are getting active right now.
Yeah, the volcano thing is kind of tripping me out. And I'll say this, when a Chevy dealership has a sinkhole and Corvettes are swallowed up.
Right.
It's Armageddon. Okay.
Yes, it is. That's very sad, isn't it?
That's an indication of something crazy going on. Well, let's go back because you have a very, very interesting childhood. And I want to discuss that. But there's something else too. Whenever I interview somebody that has some type of clairvoyance or a psychic ability or can channel or can communicate and also tie into the stars and astrology. Mm-hmm. They've had some really extraordinary events happen at a very, very young age. Have you noticed that same consistency? Because I know you communicate with other people with abilities, and do you find that there's something that happens when you're really young that sets you on a path?
Yes. I think I inherited a lot of these gifts from my mother, but I have read and I have found it true with other people that when you have a turbulent childhood, that makes you very sensitive to things around you. And I think that has to do with a lot of people when they're very intuitive, very telepathic, and just have all these amazing gifts.
Well, and for you, when my earliest memories were always the same thing with my mom. My mom was a crazy woman, and in a good way. I wouldn't change a thing for who she was, but she would. She was into tarot cards. This is in the 60s.
Great.
She was into, her and my Aunt Z. The both of them just passed in this last year. But Ouija boards, ghost writing, Edgar Casey books all over the house, lying around and on shelves. And that was my mom. My mom was, completely nuts, and I loved her for all of that. And I think you're right. You do inherit it because my mom just let me know that life isn't the way that, society looks at it. There's a whole nother thing going on out there and that it's okay. So that was me. I went off on my own thing. My mom said it was cool. So I was there. And my earliest memories were of my mom doing that sort of thing. So was it the same thing? Was it the same thing with your mom?
Yeah, she remembered a past life as a Chinese laborer on the Great Wall of China. She said she was actually remembered being buried inside the Great Wall of China. And that was a little known fact then. It came out much later that laborers were actually buried inside the Great Wall of China.
Wow.
Yeah, and she could teleport. She could be in two places at once. People would see her. She didn't do it on purpose. It would just happen. We were really telepathic with each other. We could send each other messages. We just understood each other. We would play different games where I would, guess like certain colors of the cards, the suit of the cards. And, I would guess who was calling. This is long before caller ID and answering machines, right? We just didn't know, but I would know who was calling. And sometimes I could will people to call at a certain time.
And how old were you when you had that ability? When you say something like that?
I was, probably 10, 11, around that age.
Wow, that's incredible. And so were you, how do I want to say? Were you practicing? Were you
Yes.
honing your skills?
I was. Yeah, I was. I believed in all those things. And that's long before people were really talking about those things. If you did talk to people about that, they'd look at you like you were crazy.
Right.
And, I couldn't really talk. I tried talking about these things in elementary school and junior high school. And, I would get some very strange looks, so I kind of clammed up. I didn't want to talk about it anymore.
Well, at 8 months old, what kind of paranormal event can you have? What happened when you were 8 months old?
Of course, I didn't remember anything until I was regressed by MUFON investigator Ann Druffel in 81 and 82, both my mother and I. But it took place on a very lonely highway up in Idaho, way up in northern, the Panhandle almost. And my parents were attending the University of Moscow, Idaho, and they decided to take a little trip to Twin Falls in the southern part of the state to visit relatives, my grandparents. And I was only 8 months old at the time. And they were going through an area called New Meadows, Idaho. And at the time, it was just some scattered ranches out there. And the strange thing about that night, my father had driven it many times, and he knew it would take them, so many hours to get there. But that night, he said that there weren't a lot of cars around. They hadn't seen anything for miles during this one stretch. And suddenly, out of nowhere, it's late at night, they hear this horrendous noise. It came out of nowhere, and it just descended on them, and it shook the car. They thought a plane was going to crash on them. And my father pulled over. This is what they remembered anyway. They told me exactly what they remembered. They pulled over, they got out, nothing. The sound, the roar was gone. There was nothing in the sky to explain what had happened. But years later, my uncle asked me if I had heard the story from them. And I said, yes, I heard the story many times. And he said, well, did they tell you they couldn't recall 2 hours in time? We thought they were in a car accident. I said, no, are you serious? And he said, yeah. He said, your father always knew what time he'd get in. We were waiting. We thought they were in a car accident, and they had no explanation for the missing time.
Really?
I went, whoa.
Now,
Yeah, go ahead.
And what year are we talking about?
Oh, you want me to tell you?
Well,
Yeah, I will. No, I'm just kidding. 1950, actually.
Okay, well, it's not 1909. It's 1950. That's okay. But I just want to put this in context. So in 1950, there wasn't the UFO flying saucer thing. Well, it sort of was
47 Roswell.
Right, but your parents probably wouldn't have heard about that, and I'm guessing here, but 1950, that's a strange thing to go through. That, in other words, your parents didn't have a point of reference probably to even know what was going on or anything. So that's
well, they knew about UFOs, and my mother and I had talked about flying saucers, we called them in, of course. Kenneth Arnold coined the phrase, but we talked about it a lot. And my father believed in extraterrestrials and, the existence of UFOs. But he didn't talk about it much. And he wouldn't talk about this event. I tried to talk to him many times about it, and he really clammed up. But my mother, of course, believed in those things. She believed that the Bible was full of extraterrestrial stories like Ezekiel.
Right.
So,
yeah, God bless our mothers, right?
I know.
Yeah, totally.
Isn't that amazing?
And then at age 7, at age 3, communicating with spirit guides.
Yes.
That's you were predestined to do things, obviously. And so who were the spirit guides? Did you have any idea, any concept of what was going on? And did you turn around and tell your mom about what was happening?
Well, of course, I didn't remember any of this. My mother had to tell me about my spirit guides, or, my playmates, my invisible playmates, as she called them. I gave them names, Peekaboo and Paytoy or something like that. And I described them. She said I would talk to them all the time. They would give me messages, little secret messages that I couldn't tell her about. And as I got a little older, they just faded from my memory, and of course, I don't remember them, but I've had plenty of the other side connections. So
Right.
my grandfather, when he passed away when I was 8 years old, he was just so wonderful. I loved him so much, and I was so distraught about his death. And I prayed that he would somehow contact me. And one night I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was this gauzy form of a man standing over my bed. And I was so scared because it didn't look like my grandfather. It looked like maybe a younger version of my father. And I pulled the covers over my head, and I didn't look up until the next morning. And I told my mother about it, and she says, I bet that was your grandfather. He appeared, when he was younger, because I remember him being overweight later in life. And sure enough, that it was my grandfather.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
So you didn't take a peek. You stayed.
Not again after I saw him that one time.
Right.
I was just too scared. And if I would have seen him maybe as I remembered him when he passed away, that might have made it easier for me to realize who it was and what it was. Because this house had a lot of paranormal things going on in it. And that made it even worse. We would hear a lot of noises, weird noises in the house. My mother would be alone down in the basement, and she'd hear footsteps going across the floor.
Right.
And she'd run upstairs, and there was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. My grandparents' house when I was growing up, we just pretty much the family just assumed. I mean, the place was haunted. That was it. It was just something that, whatever. It was like that because at night I would hear things. That house was never quiet. It was never, it was just things going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like we were freaking out.
Right.
And even to this day, it's not like I tell people, oh, my grandparents had a haunted house. When you have a house that's a couple of 100 years old, it's alive. There's things that house was never quiet. At night, something was always moving around. It was pretty trippy. So I wanted to get to this key point, though. At age 7, you were chased by this massive UFO. I know you've described it as silver. Now at the age of 7, you can remember. And now you're at. You're not an adult yet, but you know what's going on.
Right.
What happened?
Well, it was a cloudy day. I remember I was just starting first grade, and I was walking along a street that was fairly busy. It wasn't, somewhere off the side, somewhere, in a neighborhood. It was pretty much on a main street, and it would take me about 15 minutes to get home. And that day, I felt something watching me. I just felt, my skin was crawling. Something was watching me, and I looked up in the sky, and I saw this massive silver disc. And the weird thing is about it, it would increase and decrease in size. And it seemed to be following me. And of course, I was really frightened. I would run a little ways. I would hide in a bush and keep looking to see if it was still there. And what's really strange, and maybe it's a scream memory, I don't know, but I took a detour. Instead of going straight home,
right.
I went to a completely different neighborhood. I knocked on a house door, and I was pounding on it, and no one came to the door. I went in this house. I have no idea whose house it was,
right.
And I crawled under a bed, and I stayed there. I think I did.
Right.
I finally left. I came home, told my mother about the strange thing in the sky. She came outside with me. We looked around. There was nothing there. And I decided to walk around the neighborhood and see if any of the kids or anybody had seen what I had seen. And there was a little old lady that said that, there were other children in the neighborhood that described something similar that day. But there was nothing in the news, nothing on TV, nothing.
And this was in Idaho?
Yes, Twin Falls.
No noise?
No noise, silent.
And
totally silent.
Well, you're 7, but could you guess how high up it was?
Oh, geez. Because it was cloudy, it would come in and out of the clouds.
Okay.
So, yeah, it must have been.
It wasn't 100 feet off the ground.
Oh, no, it was fairly low.
And, wow.
Yeah.
And now, how long? Well, you're 7 years old and you're walking, or running. How long did this before you got to the house? Are we talking 15 minutes?
No, it took me about an hour to get home.
Yeah.
My mother was frantic. She couldn't imagine what happened to me.
Oh, man.
I know.
And now, any communication with it? Was there anything that you felt? In other words, were you scared? Or were you okay? I know you hid under the bed, but was there any communication or anything that was letting you know that they were there?
I think there is some missing time in there. And I wish that Anne Druffel, when she regressed my mom and I back to 1950, would have, pursued that, but she didn't. We didn't have time for it. Mm-hmm. But I think there is something that actually happened because shortly after that, I started having these recurring dreams. Earth changed,
Right.
Incredible.
Is Anne Druffel the coolest person you ever met in your life?
Oh, I love her so much. I've known her all these years, and we volunteered at the Mobius group for Stephen Schwartz. You've probably heard of Stephen.
Of
He's no longer there, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she lives right here. She lives right here, not too far from us.
She's getting up there, though. She's.
It's so funny. When I had her on the show a couple of years ago, she goes,
"Did you?"
Yeah, she goes, "Check this out. I'm going to do my Anne Druffel impression." No. You hear this in the background. You hear. She goes, "Jimmy, hold on for a second. I think the gas guy is here. Hold on, let me put down the phone."
That's cute.
Live on the air. And I'm like, okay, yeah, everybody listen. And she's talking in the background. She comes back a minute
bless
later.
Her heart.
Yeah. Okay. Are you still there? We can continue. I was like, Anne, you are the best. You are the best.
She is. Oh, yeah.
She said to me, she has the Rex Heflin photographs. And she possesses the original Polaroid. She has, I think there's 5 or 6, and she has them. And she goes, Jimmy, you want to see the pictures? If you come over to my house, I'll take the box out and I'll let you hold the pictures. I was like, Anne, you rock. She's the best.
Did you?
I have not taken her up on that yet, but trust me, we're going to knock that one out one day. And
I hope you do. Yeah.
I go,
she'd love it.
I go, Anne, you've got them at your house. She goes, Jimmy, don't you worry. They're hidden really well. I was like, Anne Druffel.
That sounds like Anne.
Yeah, she's the best. She's the best. Now your life has changed. Okay, you've this UFO has happened. At what point? And now it's 7, and I know that you were honing in things and practicing, and nothing. Practice makes perfect, and you're working on things. But at what point did you realize that you were special and you had something going on?
Well, I don't know about special, but I knew that I was different from other children. When I was in the 6th grade, I remember going outside and trying to levitate pencils out there. I was looking for UFOs, flying saucers. What kid does that?
Right.
I was scanning the skies all the time. I was just different from the other kids.
Did you have, we're going to be up against a break, and we'll pick up on this when we come back. Did you have any other contacts with them, with E.T.?
No, just a lot of dreams of spaceships landing in my neighborhood and vivid dreams. Now, I don't know if they were real or what, but I had dreams that I would be in contact with them. And I don't know if they were dreams or real, but they were pretty amazing.
Wow. Okay, yeah, let's talk about that when we come back. And I have lost what I needed to do. There it is. I just clicked. This is Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses tonight. Betsey Lewis is with us. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Bespoke radio for the masses on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
Hey, everybody, what's up? Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and check this out. The 2015 MUFON Symposium will be held this September 24th through the 27th in beautiful downtown Irvine, California. Expanding ufology, opening new doors in academia, industry, and media. Former Defense Minister of Canada Paul Hellyer will be there in person. Former CNN news anchor Cheryl Jones, TV news journalist Jaime Maussan, and MUFON's chief photo analyst Mark D'Antonio. They're just a few of the growing list of names for the 2015 event. It's September 24th through the 27th at the beautiful Hotel Irvine. Get your tickets today at MUFONSymposium.com. That's MUFONSymposium.com. Go Beckley Tepe.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Did you ever turn to your radio for your favorite talk show to find that it's been preempted for this?
In the air to deep right center. Back goes Lewis to the wall, and it's all here!
Or this?
And I'm ashamed of you, Hillary, for voting for it.
Do you have a favorite talk radio program that's not available in your city? Just go to TalkStreamLive.com for links to the best streaming talk radio shows. At TalkStream Live, you will find live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All your favorites are here. With such a large selection, you will also discover some new favorites. On the go and still want to listen? With a mobile smartphone, simply type TalkStream Live on your internet browser. Now you can take internet radio with you. You will also find hundreds of music, news, and sports streams. Best of all, the TalkStream Live directory is free and there's never a login required. Remember TalkStreamLive.com, the fastest route between you and your favorite talk radio show.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. This is Fade to Black, the Wednesday edition. It is Femme Fatale week. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight we have very special guest Betsey Lewis. Tomorrow night, Mike Barra will be live in the studio. He's going to be my teammate tomorrow night. I'm breaking out the big guns, everybody. Oh, man. All right. Hey, Betsey.
Yes.
Check this out.
Jimmy.
Mike Barra.
Yes.
Smart guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is. I love talking to him.
Yeah, we do every Thursday night. We do live calls, and we have this trivia. We play trivia, but it's the opposite. It's the audience calling in with trivia questions and trying to stump me. See, so it's the opposite, right?
That's great.
Yeah, it is. But it's me against the world, and it ain't easy. And I've been getting my butt kicked lately. So then I just thought, you know what? I'm breaking out the big gun. So Bear is going to be in here in the studio tomorrow.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I got to win tomorrow night. I'm tired of getting kicked around. So.
I don't think he falls under the femme fatale. So.
No. Well. No, Betsey strike. That was amazing. That was good stuff. Now, I want to get to these visions, and when you there was something you said to me earlier today, and I found it really interesting. You said the word download. And you and I discussed that for quite a bit, but we don't have to go there what the conversation was about. But let's back that up and apply that to you for a second. And when you're saying, you don't know if they were visions or what they were, if they, you don't know if they were direct contact. But what about download? Could it have been something like that and visions of the future, and they were just plugging that in for you?
Oh. I think they do that all the time. They seem to manipulate time and space. Atoms, they can go through solid walls. There's just so many incredible stories. And I know with Betty, Andres, and Luca, I think that may have happened with her too.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So what is real and what isn't? I think our reality, here, there's so many realities, and sometimes we have parallel worlds that, actually, fold in with our own world. And, there's just so many mysteries out there. I've always believed that, time travel exists, that the past, present, and future are happening all at once on different realities, other dimensions, and I don't know why. I've always loved time travel.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. Well, time travel for me is a big subject, and but before we can go sideways into that
we
discussion for a while. Well, look, time travel. It can be achieved so many different ways. You don't necessarily need a time machine to time travel. That's one thing. Now, not to say that having a time machine would not be cool, but that's a massive technology and possibly would take an extraordinary amount of energy and so forth. But possible, sure. CERN right now and particle acceleration and creating singularities and black holes out there in Switzerland is a scary thought, and the ability to turn that into a time machine is right there. It is the largest machine we've ever built. But then there's the other side of time travel, which it could very well be something simple. A time machine could be a spaceship where you're just jetting out on planet Earth. If you look at it like this, Betsey, the very simplest way of time travel would be to get to 99.99% of the speed of light, shoot out for a year in one direction, and then come back 2 years in one direction, turn around to planet Earth, and now you're 200 years in the future. So, you are a time traveler. Right. 2 years have passed in your own life, but 200 years have passed on planet Earth, 100 years, 200 years. Depending on how fast you're going, 99.99999, you hit the speed of light, that 100 or 200 year period on Earth would drastically change. But nonetheless, you are a time traveler to planet Earth. So you are from the past. And we would see you, here. Now, so just picture that for a second. If somebody just showed up here at planet Earth and said, okay, I just got here, and they had launched 100 years ago and they landed here now, but yet their picture, they wouldn't look physically any different because they've only aged a year or two or three. Well, that's a time traveler without a time machine.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Now,
sure.
And also, even though to us, you are from the past, you got to wrap your head around this.
Right.
To the person arriving here, they are seeing the future at the same time.
Right.
So that when we talk about time travel, is yeah, it's possible. Astronauts do it every single day, and so it doesn't have to evolve an H.G. Wells time machine. It could, but not necessarily. Now, and so when you look at it in those terms as well, if somebody perfected time travel, then the future would be visiting us here all the time. But would we recognize them? Don't know. Would we be able to see them? Don't know. Would it be something on a different timeline? Don't know. Why wouldn't they make them? Well, you know what? The reason why they wouldn't make themselves visible is because they would, quite frankly, freak everybody out in a bad way. If you are traveling back in time, Betsy, if you go back in time, you're the guest on the show, and I'm rambling here, but you said time travel. What do you think, Jimmy?
I know.
But Betsy, if you went back in time, and this is my question to you, if you went back in time 500 years, right? And see, so you went back to the year 1500, and you are cruising around Europe. Are you going to jump off and tell everybody who you are?
No.
Of course you're not.
No.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, be burned at the stake or something like that. No.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
You're not going to go and do that. So anybody from the future that is here is not going to wave a flag and go, hey, no, it's not going to happen. And it wouldn't happen because we would freak out. And it would end very, very badly. And why would they even be here to begin with? Well, there's a lot of different reasons why. But why would you go back to the year 1500? Why would we send Betsy to the future? There's a whole list of reasons why, but none of them would be reasons why you would want visible. It would be a covert operation to the extreme.
Jimmy, have you had the feeling of deja vu?
I talk about it on every show. Thank you very much.
Okay. I think we actually jump into the future when we have that feeling.
Yes.
Yes.
And when was the last time you deja vu'd?
Oh, just a couple of days ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what? Tell me about it. What happened?
Well, it was just a feeling that something I had said before, but I had an experience with my mom. This was like when I was 12, 13 years old. I used to light my mother's cigarettes. She always smoked the filter type.
Right.
And I remember lighting it, and all of a sudden something made me look at the filter, and there was a perfect B, the letter B, that formed on it. And I got the strangest feeling that somehow I had sent a message back to myself from the future to that present moment.
Wow, that is so cool.
Isn't that freaky?
That is so cool. What was the message? Did you try to figure that out?
I don't know what that was. It was just like saying, the future is here, and, I'm sending a message, to I was sending a message to myself. That's all I know, that I was there in the future.
This is my take on deja vu. Well, I have 100 takes, but the main one is this. For all of the skeptics out there, for all of the debunkers, that say stupid things like there are no ghosts, there is nothing going on. When we die, we just turn into dust. There's nothing on the other side.
Oh.
For them, I go, okay, have you deja vu'd? Sure. Then what are you talking about? Because if you've deja vu'd, then everything that you just referred to is real. Time travel's real. Interdimensionality is real. The ability for you to see the future and you admit to it, and you don't think that's strange. You don't think that other things are going on in our world around us that we are not aware of, that we need to learn about. Deja vu is the perfect example of that. I think everybody does it. And if they say that they don't do it, I think they're in denial. I asked yesterday, I had on the show, or it was the night before, Dana Dunn was on with us. And I asked her about deja vu. And if, my statement was everybody deja vus. Obama deja vus. Everybody deja vu.
Sure.
She said, you know what? I don't think so. Some people just block it out. They just don't want the ability, and their personality is just such that things like that just don't happen to them. So, but most people do deja vu, and I think everybody does. And
I think that mass consciousness, excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. I think that mass consciousness actually affects the time and reality.
When you you okay?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
You need a cough button.
Yeah, let me hold on just a minute here.
Okay, go get some water. Go get some water. And when Betsey comes back, I'll take this minute to say this. With deja vu, and this is the key question: Are you back?
I'm back. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought I muted it for a minute. I'm sorry. I was coughing in your ear there.
No, it's fine. With deja vu, do you think it's us that is seeing our own future, or do you think it's somebody else that is seeing our future and is making us aware of our future?
Good question. I think time is just always moving and changing. I think that's why so many psychics don't get things right. That with mass consciousness, we are creating the future every minute. And right now, look at what's happening to our planet. There is so much fear, there's so much anger, there's so much hate. We are actually creating all these things. And even the indigenous people say that we're creating these strange earth effects right now, that if we come together and start honoring everything, that if we reconnect with Earth and Mother Nature and realize that everything is connected and everything has a consciousness, that will lessen these earth changes. But right now, because of all our fear and everything, we're dumping all that into Mother Earth.
Right. Well, when I was younger, speaking of global changes, and let's take a right turn and go in this direction. When I was younger, I was raised up in Chicago on Lake Michigan, and on the lake, not a couple of miles away, but on Lake Michigan. And so growing up there, the beach used to be huge. The beach went out for 100 yards of sand going out, and I remember, and then every single summer, I would notice that the beach was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And after about 10 years, I remember going back down and and the beach was gone. Like Lake Michigan was now all the way up against the, there's like a lack of a better words, not quite a cliff, but maybe 20, 30 yards of dirt that goes up and rocks. But the fun beach that I used to play at as a kid had gone away. And this was in the 60s and early 70s. And this is when, global warming wasn't a word yet. It wasn't a term yet. But I did see what was going on there, and I couldn't explain it. It was the beaches had gone away at Lake Michigan. Now, that is what's going on all around the world. And I had read the other day, Betsy, I don't know if you saw this, but the Marshall Islands are at sea level. Okay? They're almost an anomaly. They shouldn't really be there, but they're getting ready to disappear. And one good tidal wave, not a tidal, but one good surge, they're gone. The Marshall Islands are flooding every single day now, and it's a really, really, really bad situation. And they're at sea level. One good tidal surge comes through that's 7 or 10 feet tall, and it's gone. That's it. And that's where we are now. I don't know if it's necessarily global warming, but is it just a cyclical thing that we're going through? Because we went through an ice age. We went through a period where, everything melted.
Right.
So are we just going through another thing like that, or are we doing it to ourselves?
I think it's both. I think we're going through a cycle. Mother Earth has always been violent, and there's been major Earth changes for millions of years. And suddenly we're seeing everything going back to that. I think there's an outside force that is causing that. But I also believe that our thoughts and, how we have disrespected the Mother Earth, that we are creating so much of this right now. And look what we're doing to our planet. And I'm saying we as a whole of humanity, that we are just, putting toxins in her with the fracking. Our waters are all becoming polluted. There is just no respect. Animals are dying. Here in Idaho, we had 2,000 snow geese just drop dead out of the sky in March.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. And I did a little calling on that. They said that they found large doses of zinc sulfide in them.
And
isn't that weird? That wasn't the avian cholera that they thought it was.
Where does zinc sulfide come from?
Probably from mining, slag.
Interesting.
Yes.
And here in California, well, the events that are going on today. I mean, like today, July 1st. If you look around. Not in the last 5 years. I'm just talking about today. You look and you have this red crabs that are washing up on the shores of Huntington Beach, or you have sea lions that are dying. We have shark attacks that are happening off of the North Carolina coast. We have these different things that are happening. That Alaska is balmy today. You just said Boise was $110. Well, it's the same thing that's going on up in Alaska right now, and that melting. There's things that are going on. A new volcano just erupted in Japan a couple of days ago.
Right.
That was something pretty bizarre. We had the volcano down in Argentina or Chile last month. This is something that is going on every single day now.
It's accelerating since the beginning of the year. The 8.5 earthquake in Nepal.
Yes.
Everything has gone crazy. And I think it's because we're out of balance. The earth is out of balance. We're out of balance. We have a separation disease. We don't realize how connected we are and how symbiotic everything is connected to everything. I mean, the sun is connected to us, to the earth. We're connected to the animals through our atoms and molecules. We're all related. And that's something I hope we all get back to. And that's what I wrote about in Earth Energy, because I want us to all get back to that. We're so separated by our technology. We think this is the only world. We have our cell phones and our iPads and our internet, and we forget that there is a world out there. The trees have a consciousness. Everything does. The trees are the ones that give us oxygen and take in all the bad air, the carbon dioxide and all the toxins. And, Indians and Native Americans and indigenous people have always talked to the elements because they know everything's alive. And I just hope that's something we get back into to balance the earth again.
You just reminded me of the term that we've lost sight of, but the butterfly effect.
Yes.
And you're familiar?
Yes,
of course
absolutely.
You are. That was just stupid of me. I'm sorry to insult you like that. On this
Shame
show.
on you.
Yes. You know what? I want to hear your take. What is the butterfly effect?
Well, they say it's this idea that a single butterfly flapping its wings on one side of the globe can, in theory, start a hurricane on the other side. That means that we're all connected to everything. We're electrical beings, and the energy that we put out into the planet and atmosphere through our thoughts and actions create both negative and positive events in the time continuum.
Here in the butterfly effect, to me, here in Los Angeles, which is hugely the same in a multiple in India and in Beijing and Tokyo, Taiwan, New York City, is when you have the gentrification and the change of the valley here in California. You lived in Burbank, and you left here in 87. I got here in 83. So you were here when the valley was still green. Okay? Right. You would come over the 405 freeway, you would drive into Burbank, and you would look across the valley, and it was green. I remember in 83, 84, when I would drive over here to the valley, it was still green. It's not that today. Really? And all they do today now is pull up trees, pull up grass, replace it with concrete, and they think that everything is fine. Well, you know what? Those trees that you're talking about because of watering and the drought, and let's pull all, you know what? That's our oxygen, brother. You know? And the valley used to be covered with orange groves and trees and farming and, but all of that is gone. It is one big, massive chunk, 75 miles long by 20 miles wide of concrete. And it used to be 75 miles by 25 miles of lush trees. And you go and you pull that out. Now, what happens? You know, it's a valley. And this, what I'm saying is what's going on here, it's going on all over the planet.
It is. It is. And it's so sad, isn't it? So sad.
They want to pull up the trees.
I cry for our planet.
Yeah. And what do you expect? At one point, the planet's going to vomit. It's going to get sick, and it's going to be a bad situation. But do you think we could fix things rather quickly?
I think if we all unite together and start praying for our planet, you know, go outside and sit on Mother Earth and talk to her, talk to everything, feel that energy, excuse me, that light coming in. Here I go again. Sorry about that. I got some bad allergies coming up here.
Interesting. I love live radio.
Oh, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have horrible. I live with allergies 24/7 all the time. And here we have trees, millions of trees that are all in bloom right now. And let me tell you. Not good, not good.
But see, that's also another situation that is upsetting planet Earth, Mother Earth, which is everybody wants the trees that flower, right? But they don't want to have the allergies and the things that, so there's no male trees, right? All the male trees are pulled. We want the beautiful female trees. Really? We want the female, and it's really funny. That's not how things are supposed to be.
No.
And we're screwing with it out of convenience. You know what? Plant one of each in your yard and put up with the allergies.
Right. I do.
You know,
I do. I deal with it. But yeah, you know, I think there's so much that we can do to reconnect with the Mother Earth, and our prayers are so important. Intentions, visualization of a new planet, and a new healed planet where everything is clear again and clean. You know, I had two incredible indigenous teachers during the 90s, Corbin Harney, who passed away in 2007. He was a spiritual leader of the Western Shoshone Nation, and Ed McGaw, Eagle Man, who's still alive. And you know, they both have said that, you know, we've got to reconnect again, that we've got to realize that we only have one Earth. There we go again.
Did you hear that Red Elk passed away?
I know. Weekend? I heard that.
And
he was an amazing man too.
Yeah.
But our prayers are so important. And we forget that our prayers are pure energy. When we put that out there into the universe, the cosmos, it's going to come back. Do you remember when 9/11 happened? Do you remember those two satellites that were going around the Earth? There was GOES 8 and GOES 10.
Yes,
and they picked up a huge spike.
Right.
And that happened. That was human emotion that spiked the energy level. And so that just shows that human emotion and human thought can do so much in our world.
The power of that, and with Mother Earth, for those out there that just think that you can ignore and just live your life and everything is going to be fine for your children, you're dead wrong. We lived, Betsy, you're a little older than me, but not much. But one thing that you and I do remember, I for those of we have audience members that are in their 20s and 30s, and think about that for a second. So that means they were born in 1980. Okay, they don't remember. They don't have any point of reference as to what the world was like in the 60s. And going into the 70s, and the drastic changes that have happened since then to now to today. I can look around and know how extremely screwed up things are. And
I know.
Somehow we drove the car off the freeway, and I don't know necessarily how it happened.
Remember when we didn't drink water out of plastic bottles? There was no plastic until later. And that's during the 50s anyway. But, who would have thought that our water would be so polluted? We'd be drinking out of plastic bottles that are actually leaching into the water that we drink. And we're putting all this plastic in our oceans. And after Fukushima, we don't realize that plastic may take hundreds of years to break down. And what's breaking down in the ocean right now are these small little pieces that the fish are eating. And then we eat the fish and we get more plastic. And we wonder why there's so much cancer today. And,
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
it's insanity.
It's indicative on so many fronts. If you think about, and I know, I realize I sound like I'm just a romanticist and I'm speaking in cliches, but when in the 60s and 70s, society was different in that your parents didn't want you in the house.
We were talking about, my husband and I were talking about that the other day. They didn't care where we went.
They didn't care. The house was off limits, man. you
right.
know? And that's really the truth. And today, you're not allowed. If my kids go outside, if they put their foot in the front yard, I'm freaking out.
Right.
It's the exact opposite. And that is what I'm trying to say. We have made this transition, and it's happened in my lifetime. When you think that, life goes on day to day and nothing changes, I have seen, mine eyes have seen this drastic change. And we, as kids, if we came home, we were asked, why are we home? What are you doing home? Go back outside. When it gets dark, when the street lights come on, then maybe you can come home and maybe we'll feed you. But in the meantime, go. And there was no concerns about safety or things. Walking to school in the morning or
right.
Summer vacation meant for us as kids, and you did the same. All of America was the same. Summer vacation came. That means you didn't see your parents for 3 straight months. That's what that meant.
It's true. It's true.
Your parents went to work, and you went and played all day long, and that was it. And a cell phone, if you wanted to know where everybody was at, you looked to see how many bikes were in somebody's front yard. Oh, okay, all the kids are over there. Okay, it's fine. Maybe Johnny's mom will feed my kids tonight, and they can eat over there, and I'll hang over here with the other parents and we'll drink coffee and talk and sit on the front porch. But that's what life, it is not that kind of party anymore.
Do kids have slumber parties anymore? Sleep outside in their sleeping bags and look at the stars.
Betsey. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. I miss that. And I don't know how we can possibly reconnect. And so my point is, it's indicative of everything about life now. We're so disconnected with ourselves and our inner soul that we need to somehow get that back. Things will tend to fix themselves. Mother Earth will fix itself. It will be nice to us. She will be nice and fix herself really, really quickly if we just behave. And I don't know how we can get back to that point. I don't know.
Like I said, we just have to realize that what spiritual beings we are and the power that we have. And, that's the way we are on the other side. When we're on the other side, the spirit world, we're creating our world instantly because we're pure thought. Whatever you think, you create instantly. And it takes a little bit longer because we're in a material, physical world. And here it takes a little longer, but still we are creating our reality. And I know that, like you said, it sounds like a cliche, we do create our reality. And that's what we're creating right now. We're creating all these things.
With the visions that you had, that you were presented as a youngster, when I say young, in your 20s and so forth, right. When you look around today, were they spot on?
Well, as far as the winds, the earthquakes, the volcanoes erupting. I was with a group of people in my dreams when I was 7 years old, and I would be escaping on foot with a group of people from volcanoes erupting. And I saw myself as an older person. I wasn't a child with these people, which was really interesting that I would see myself somewhere in the future escaping earth changes.
When you let's talk about prophetizing.
Okay. Yeah, let's do.
Yeah, when and I've read everything going back with you, I've for a couple of years, and I've read everything for 2015 and things that you had written about at the very, very beginning of the year. Yeah, I check you out, young lady. I'm just letting you know. And
ooh, I'm not always right.
Well, but this is there's two ways to look at it, and I think both of them are legit. But in that, you can say, okay, well, you know what? Some of this is very simple. And of course, okay, who could not expect this to happen? And then there's the other side of it that it seems a little bit too extreme. And that is, that's putting fear into us, and it's probably not going to happen and won't. And there's kind of two, but you know what? I think they both apply to each other. And then, but with you, these things have seemed to be pretty solid.
I know.
And I read, and even though it seems, a lot of it seems logical, but you know what? I've seen a lot of logical prophetizing over the years, and none of it has even been close. I have a famous quote that I used to use a lot. No prophets have ever come true. So, forget about it.
Yeah, right.
But with you, and I go and I follow it. It's pretty frightening. Where does this come from?
I feel connected to the earth, and I think so many of my prophecies are earth-related. I've been shown earthquakes before they happen. I get dizzy. I get vertigo when something big is going to happen. When my husband and I were in Colorado last year, October, we were in Durango, Colorado, and I was feeling so dizzy. It was horrible. I couldn't even stand up. I'd have to sit down. We'd go into a shop and look around, and I'd sit down, and I'm going, there's something that's going to happen. I can feel it. And sure enough, there was a huge earthquake that hit. I think it was in Nicaragua, somewhere in Central America, somewhere down there. But I was feeling that, and I don't know why I felt it so strongly there. Maybe there was more radon that was coming up through the earth there. But I've had just incredible premonitions of things that are going to happen.
Does it happen when you're dreaming, or is it when you're awake, and do you immediately just write it down?
Well, when I was in Los Angeles, 3 days before the big earthquake, the Northridge earthquake hit in 1971, I dreamed every night for 3 nights of a huge earthquake. And in the dream, I knew that I would be okay, and my mom and some friends, we'd all be okay. But the morning that it hit, I was working for a brokerage firm at the time in Beverly Hills, and I was dressed really early. I didn't have that dream that morning, but at 6 o'clock it hit that morning, and it was shaking the whole house. I mean, it was really frightening. But I've had these dreams so many times, and I've even had world premonitions before they happen, like before Sandy Hook shootings. That morning, I woke up with the most dreaded feeling I've ever felt, something so dark. I knew something was going to happen. I didn't know what, but something just engulfed me. And I said, oh my God, what is it? Something horrible is going to happen. And sure enough, horrible shootings at that school.
When so when you get into specifics, everybody should go. If you don't do it now during the show, you can certainly do it after. Go to BetseyLewis.com. And just have some fun. That's all I got to say. Just go to Betsey Lewis.
Thanks. How about the X rocket? I've been saying that these, rockets that they're sending up are going to keep crashing. And sure enough, we had the Russian one. There was one before that. And then just recently, that X rocket they sent up just exploded after launch. And I think we've got some ETs that are giving us a little message there. I think that it's going to keep happening, too.
Yeah, it seems like we forgot how to launch a rocket.
I know. Isn't that conveniently forgot? How could we do that after all these years with NASA and all the successful rockets and shuttle and everything else? What is going on?
Well, let's. Now you got me coughing.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's coming through
contagious.
It's coming through the ether.
Yeah.
I don't know. In the last year, and I talk about each successful launch. I talk about it, what was on the launch, what are they doing, and so forth. And it seems like we've only gotten one off the ground in the last year. I mean, it seems like everything is, I had read a report the other day that don't worry, the International Space Station has enough stuff, to last for another 3 months. And I was thinking, do we really, you're reporting something that we really don't need to report about. What are you talking about? It's going to be okay for 3. What you're trying to say is you guys have issues right now and you don't know how you're going to resupply the ISS, but don't worry, they got enough to go for 3 months. They know that they have problems. And I don't know how we got here. I really don't. And I think ET is something to take a look at. There's a reason why we stopped the space shuttle. I don't understand it.
Do you think there's 2 space programs, a black type of, I think so too, and we're not seeing that. There's just 2 different space agencies that are going on here. And there's stories, and I know Mike Barrow talk about it, that we've been to Mars, and many people believe that we've been there. There's, they said somebody believes that Obama was there on Mars. I don't know if that's possible, but.
Andrew Basiago.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, okay. Andrew Basiago. Yeah, I was with him last week. And, well, see, the thing is, and you bring up a really good point. This is the one thing, and I know you do the same thing, but you have the mass media and the news that you're fed. And then you have the truth. It's 2 different things. So we don't know. We only know what they want us to know. That's it. That's it. You have to go and find out for yourself if you want to get to the truth about certain things. And when it comes to a guy like Andrew Basiago, who said some, I was asked last week on this TV, I can't. I almost slipped up. I was interviewed last week. And in this interview, one of the things that I brought to bear is when you have somebody like Andrew Basiago, or you have Montauk, or you have the Philadelphia experiment, or you have these different incidents out there. And you have to look at if a couple of the if you can dig up something that is true about it, and prove something about it, then everything else is true. It's just like if you get on the stand and you lie once on the stand, but you say 20 things that are true, but you lie about one, well, then it doesn't matter. You're shot down. Okay, that's the way that it is. But when you look at Basiago, and he made a couple of fantastic claims years ago, and one of them, he said, and I found this fascinating, he said the skies are blue on Mars. Yeah. They're not red. Well, at that time and up to that point, NASA, all the images that we had ever seen of Mars are red planet, red sky, red this, red that, red dirt, red. Everything is red. There's no color on Mars. Everything is red. Well, now we find out that NASA's been color correcting all of this stuff all along. And now when we look at photographs of Mars today, there's a friggin' blue sky up there. Well,
how about, isn't that something?
Well, then
we've been lied to.
Yeah, so then you got to kind of look back at Andrew and go, well, what else is true here? And we have to figure that kind of stuff out on our own. And when, as fantastic as Andrew's claims are, and I've talked to him for hours on end, both on air and off, and he has stuck to the facts and stuck to the one story. He hasn't bent at all. And I listen to him, I just want him to give me more, because when he said what he said, and then it comes to pass, and now we find out that the sky's not red on Mars, then you have to question. Also, the other thing is, and thank you, who's interviewing who here? I love this. but the other thing is the secret space shuttle, that the Air Force is flying now. Mm-hmm. And it's up there for 2 years at a stretch.
Yeah.
Well, somebody tell me, what the heck is it doing up there for 2 years if we don't have another space program going on at the same time? Mm-hmm. And they don't want to tell us what's going on. Well, it's doing something up there. And I definitely want to know why we've stopped the space shuttle program. I was so proud of the space shuttle. I was so proud as an American.
Wasn't it wonderful?
Yeah. And all the talk of, we need space planes. Well, you know what? We had one. Damn it. we had one.
We did. I remote viewed JPL during the late 70s. It was a dream, but it was more remote viewing. And I was transported into this area, and I felt it was in Pasadena. But I saw these screens that these men were looking, scientists. I felt they were scientists. And they were looking at this giant screen, not a small screen, but a giant screen. And they were seeing three-sided pyramids. I saw, I didn't see the face of Mars, but I did see what looked like a giant ramp with, like, there was ram's horns, kind of circular type things. So I saw these things so clearly, and they were all excited. They were patting each other on the back, and that's what I remember. And, when I saw the face of Mars, I went, oh my gosh, and they've talked about three-sided pyramids and the giant glass tubes, which who knows might be giant sandworms from Dune. I don't know.
Did you say they were standing in front of giant screens and looking at this?
Yes. And, I went to JPL. I took a tour there, and all they show you are the small little screens. But I saw a giant screen that they were looking at.
Courtney Brown was on the show.
Courtney.
Yeah, a couple of months ago, maybe a little longer. He's been on a few times, but we did Cydonia. He did a remote viewing of Cydonia on Mars.
Really?
And one of the things that one of his remote viewers had seen was he remote viewed a presentation that was going on at JPL.
No, I'm getting chills.
Yeah, and he was talking, and you should see the video of him because he's drawing it. He's drawing it out, and they have this big screen in the background with Sidonia and this cityscape thing. And everybody was in suits, and he's got them sitting in the audience. He's got the big screen in the background, and they're doing this presentation about what was seen on Mars. And it was nearly exactly what you just described to me right now. Yeah, that's pretty bizarre. That's pretty bizarre. And that happened in the 70s?
Yeah, and a few years later, I met a guy that was at a dinner that I was invited to who claimed he was a computer scientist for NASA. And he claimed, I asked him, about what I had seen, and I thought it was like remote viewing, and he told me that there were some of these things, the giant ramp, what looked like ram's horns, the circular formation, giant formation. And he said something about there was I think he said it was a large amounts of radon on the planet. And I've never heard about that. And I've tried to look it up, but I thought that was interesting. And then the guy just disappeared, which was kind of interesting because the friends that knew him said they had tried to contact him and he just kind of vanished. So I don't know if he really did work for NASA. I don't know. But it was just weird. And he seemed to confirm what I was saying.
I was talking to you earlier. We started to touch upon on some of the stuff that you prophesized is very direct. About Obama, about the Middle East, and other things. Where does that come from? Do you stop and focus? Where does it come from when it's so specific?
I just let it flow. The first of the year, I sit down and I just let everything flow, whatever comes to me, and I just put it down. And some of it sounds kind of crazy, and I go, okay, I'm going to put it down anyway. I don't know where it comes from. It's just a knowing that I get. And like I said, my prophecies, my predictions aren't always correct. Sometimes I'm way off, but sometimes I'm just, amazingly right on. And it's this knowing. I call it a knowing because I have no doubt that something is going to happen. And I don't get it all the time. I don't get it every minute. I never know when it's going to come in, but that knowing is so strong. And it certainly has saved my life many times when I get that feeling.
You wrote, I went back to your website and I pulled up a couple of things.
Go ahead.
And this is what you wrote. You said, today is March 24th, 2015. I had a vision of a great holy war coming, started by terrorist groups in the Middle East against Christians. There are forces stirring up these factions, planning events from behind the scenes. Somehow I sense Pope Francis, who has given an ominous prediction for his own early death recently, could signal this war. He could be the sacrificial lamb as ancient predictions have foretold. Take that, describe the parts of this. Now, this was in March.
Right.
And we know now what has gone on since March, and it has completely spun out of control since then. But we now know that Pope Francis is coming to the United States, and we to speak to Congress and to the United Nations. So he's got something to say, and it's going to be profound. He's not doing a drive-by to go to In-N-Out Burger. He's coming here to with a specific agenda. But for you to write this, we didn't know the Pope was coming here to the United States in March of this past year. So
no.
You want to expand on this a little bit? It's a pretty frightening paragraph here, young lady.
Well, what's really strange, in my mystic revelations of 13, I found all these strange things. It was on March 13th that he was actually elected, right? And March 13th, 2013, that number totals 13. And there's some really strange things that have happened with him. He chose the name Francis of Assisi, which is a 13th century friar and saint, right? He, let's see if I can find all these things. He was ordained to the priesthood on December 13th of 1969. There is just so many things here about 13. He is connected to 13, and that is supposed to be one of the numbers of the Illuminati. And of course, when he was elected, he was 76 years old. That equals a 13 totaled.
Keep going.
Keep going. There's more.
Keep going.
There's more. Let's see if I can find all these. He is, I think one of his favorite mottos is from Beatty's Homily on Matthew 9:13, and it says, because he saw him through the eyes of mercy and chose him.
Have you run his numbers?
I haven't, and I should. You're right, I should do that.
Yeah.
I haven't done that, but there's just a lot of strange things about him. A lot of strange things.
Yeah, and there was another thing that you wrote here, which I remember when I had read it, and it was, and I'm going to read it here in a second, everybody. Just relax, okay? Just relax. And when I read it originally, I was like, okay, all right, it's simple enough. It happens every year. But this year, it has been to the extreme. And this is what you wrote. You wrote, tornadoes will be fierce and rage across the Midwest and in parts of Texas this 2015 spring. And now we all, I have no idea. This has certainly been the year of the tornado.
It has.
And tornadoes commonplace. We've dealt with it our whole lives and stuff. This year has been it has to be known as the year of the tornado. And when I see stuff like this, I know it sounds, but then you specifically say Texas and 2015 spring, and we got bombed with tornadoes.
Right.
Where did this come from?
And the great floods. Well, I think the earth is wobbling right now. And I think these sounds that we're hearing is from deep core earth movement. And I think, some people have described these mysterious roars and noises. It sounds like a train, they say. And I think that's like a train applying its brakes. The earth is slowing its rotation. And did you see in the news what they said, that they had to add 2 seconds, I think, to the atomic clock because our Earth is slowed to 2 minutes. They said it has slowed down a little bit.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Totally.
Yes.
And then you wrote this, and we're going to be up against a break here in just a couple of minutes. And then you wrote this. The great drought will force thousands of people from California as the water situation worsens this year. 2 years ago, my spirit guides told me that my husband and I should not move to Northern California. And I find that very interesting. Right. I assumed at the time it might be because of a powerful earthquake, but now I understand it was because of the serious drought situation in California. How prophetic is that? Because here in California, we know about Southern California and Los Angeles and the drought. Certainly, the drought is something that, we live in a desert. We're concerned about it every year. It doesn't matter. Right. It's never a lush green year of rainfall. It just doesn't happen. What was that famous song in the 60s? It don't rain in California, right?
It doesn't rain in California. Well, it's coming true.
But here, the way that it is, you're absolutely right. Right now, we are at the tipping point of a really bad situation here in California. But it was Northern California and Modesto and the farmlands that got hit the worst, and there is no water up there. No. And this is spot on the money. And your spirit guides had warned you. You wrote this. And it did come to pass. And we are living in this now. Again, I have to ask you, in the fear of repeating myself, but where does this come from? This is, and by the way, I need lottery numbers too.
You need I wish I could do that. Sometimes I do. We went to Reno a couple of years ago, and my husband and I were sitting at the little bar there, and there was a slot machine there. And I said to my husband, "This slot machine is calling to me. I got to go over there and play it." And I won $100 instantly. I don't do that all the time, but when it calls to me, when I get that knowing feeling, I know I'm right, about people, about things that are going to happen. And I don't know where it comes from, but it's just there. And maybe somehow I slip into the future and I see these things. I don't know. But I'm going to say one thing to everyone. We are going to see Earth changes accelerate, and there won't be anyone on this planet that won't feel them in some way. But the fires, the wildfires, the drought, the floods, the tornadoes, the winds, incredible winds. That was part of my dreams. Volcanoes, earthquakes, and, the volcanoes are related, and the earthquakes, when the volcanoes start, the earthquakes start. It's all related.
Let's take that quick break. Let's get that out of the way. We got more to talk about, and this is it's been a great show. Thank you so much, Betsey. Let's take this.
You.
This is what it's all about. Like I said, this is what late night radio is supposed to be. This is Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Betsey Lewis is with us for the duration. If we get lucky, maybe we'll take some of your calls. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
Are you a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, or UFO skywatcher? If so, FNGinnovations.com has the product you definitely need in your investigations kit or go bag. Introducing the Morpholite Wide Beam Tactical Flashlights that put the light where you need it most. Traditional flashlights shine a focused round beam with limited line of sight in the dark. Morpholite Tactical Flashlights change all that, utilizing a revolutionary wide beam design to enable you to see safety hazards such as hanging wires and steel, pipes, and holes in the floor you just can't see with a focused round beam. In the field, where safety is paramount, a 180-degree beam increases orientation and peripheral vision in the dark. Morpholite flashlights are ideal for investigations in abandoned facilities such as houses and hospitals, factories, caves, and tunnels. Avoid those low-hanging tree branches that poke your eyes in the woods. Visit FNGinnovations.com to see a full line of tactical lights and accessories. That's FNGinnovations.com.
Now you can find all your favorite talk radio shows live, all in one place at TalkStreamLive.com. Listen from anywhere, office, home, or in your car. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com and click on one of the many live talk show hosts you want to listen to. It's free and easy. No computer? Download the smartphone apps. Never miss your favorite talk show. Find them all at TalkStreamLive.com.
Hey everybody, what's up? Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and check this out. The 2015 MUFON Symposium will be held this September 24th through the 27th in beautiful downtown Irvine, California. Expanding ufology, opening new doors in academia, industry, and media. Former Defense Minister of Canada Paul Hellyer will be there in person. Former CNN news anchor Cheryl Jones, TV news journalist Jaime Maussan, and MUFON's chief photo analyst, Mark D'Antonio. They're just a few of the growing list of names for the 2015 event. It's September 24th through the 27th at the beautiful Hotel Irvine. Get your tickets today at MUFONSymposium.com. That's MUFONSymposium.com. Go Beckley Tepe.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network. and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right, welcome back. This is Fade to Black. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple, at JChurchRadio. Twitter's been lighting up tonight. It always does, but it's extraordinary tonight. I will get to some of your questions. If you do have anything for Betsy, you can hashtag F2BQ. That's Fade to Black questions. We got a bunch lined up right now. I will hit Betsy with those in just a second. And email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Tomorrow night, Mike Barra will be with us live in the studio to take on the world. And hopefully this week I will get it a little closer. I don't expect a victory. You guys are too smart out there. Hey, Betsy, when we look at Earth changes with what's going on, yes, we've got earthquakes. We've got a serious global war. The Marshall Islands are about to disappear. We've got volcano activity through the Ring of Fire. The recent one in South America down at the tip of Chile, and Japan just fired up, and I think there was another one in was it Samoa or Sumatra? With all of this activity, what are the stars telling us? Do you turn to the stars and look at, does the Earth have a chart?
Well, I believe the Earth has an evolution like we do. I don't turn to the stars for my information. I just go by what I'm getting, my dreams, my just my intuition, my spirit guides, what they're telling me. And maybe I've had some kind of ET help. I really think that maybe I was given a message. I've always felt that I would see something just huge in my lifetime around this time. And it's part of the message I think I was given when I was, very young.
Huge in a good way or huge in a bad way?
Well, I don't think Earth movement is a bad thing. It's going to awaken us because we're so out of balance. It's telling us we've got to awaken and start respecting everything and honoring everything, that everything is alive and we're all connected to that consciousness. And that's what it's saying. And that's what the Earth changes are going to do. Everything evolves, and that's what our Mother Earth is doing right now.
I'm going to read something else that you wrote, and I just found this just absolutely amazing. You said, Mother Earth is experiencing massive change, and everything will accelerate this year. Some psychics believe Mother Earth is angry at us for our disrespect and abuse. But the truth is she has been going through upheaval since her birth. She wants to survive. It's planetary evolution, and she changes. As she changes, so will humanity. It's deep, but it's true. And like I said earlier, at one point, she's going to vomit. That's what you do. You get sick, you've eaten some bad food, and you just go and you clean yourself out and you feel amazing afterwards. But that's what's going to happen, and we just may be in the way. But can we, before it happens, is there something that we can do?
Well, I like I said, I think we can all start, connecting with the Earth again, with connecting with everything, so that we're honoring, ceremony. You don't have to do it the indigenous way, but get out there and speak to everything. There are experiments that have been done with Kirlian photography on plants. Plants are alive. They feel our emotions. People that pray over these plants, they are beautiful and amazing. And negativity, you see these plants that are wilted. I went to a spiritual church during 67, I think it was 67, 68 in Watts. It was kind of a scary time. I was the only white person in this all black church, and these people were amazing, and they all had plants around there, and they all prayed over the plants, and they gave me a plant to pray over, but their plants were incredible. And that's where I really learned about plants and plant energy. and knowing that, everything is so alive, and trees. I love trees. And, the amazing thing is that indigenous people pray over everything. If they chop down a tree, they honor it. They do a ceremony. If it's for the sun dance, they pray for it and they thank it. Gratitude. We just don't have any gratitude for everything that's out there. The insects, they are here for a purpose. The animals, they hold the grid together. Even we're taking all of Mother Earth's lifeblood out of her. We're pumping out the gas and the oil, and that's holding the energy grid together. We've got to stop doing all this. We've got to find a simpler way of living in order to change everything.
It's funny. I don't trust if somebody doesn't have plants, if somebody doesn't raise a plant, or if somebody doesn't have a dog or a cat, or if somebody doesn't have a child, I just don't trust them. What I mean is they haven't experienced. They don't understand what it takes to my wife and I, we have a garden over at the house, and it's not tomatoes, but we have fruit trees and we have plants, but trying to keep them nurtured and trying to keep them because they depend on you. And it's the same thing when you have pets. We have 3 dogs, and you watch them grow. Well, that's what life is all about. And if you don't have that connect, if you think that life is about, a new car and a new Xbox and the Kardashians, and that's what your whole thing is about, and you're totally disconnected from Mother Earth, that's the problem that we have here today. That's
right.
That very thing.
How true, Jimmy. It's so true. You've got it right. Totally right. We've got to honor everything as sentient beings and animals. The abuse. I see it all the time. Dogs and cattle. Here we have the ag gag. I don't know if you've heard of the ag gag law for animals. Oh, it just infuriates me that they passed a law now. There was a group of environmentalists and people that went in to this big cattle area. They raised these big what is it? I'm trying to think of the name of the big ranch. But anyway, they were raising cattle, and I guess that some of the cows were being abused by the people that work there, but they went in with cameras and they captured this. And when they found out about it, they got in big trouble, of course, but now they passed a law that if you go in there without permission by these big companies, that they can actually imprison you for a year and fine you up to $5,000, that animals don't have rights. That's what they're basically saying. And, I've seen this with other, people that have raised horses. There was someone not too far from where we live that I saw these horses were being abused, and I called several different places, and they said, well, we can't do anything. We can't go on his property because he's going to sue us and we can't do anything about it. I said, no, you're kidding.
There was one other thing that you wrote. I had to make sure that I mentioned this on the show. This was absolutely spot on the money, and it's chilling for me to read this right now, but this is what you wrote. And when I'm done reading it, why don't you tell me when you posted this? But you said,
okay,
congressional Republicans have split into competing factions over how to respond to President Obama's expected moves to overhaul the nation's immigration system, which will likely include protecting millions from being deported. Obama says he will initiate executive order if needed to allow 5 million illegal aliens to become U.S. citizens. But Congress wants to stop him. And if he does, Congress threatens to shut down the government. Could the mysterious time traveler John Teeter, who appeared in 2000 in a 2000 blog, to be right about the Civil War in this country due to Congress? It seems we are moving in that direction. And then you post John Teeter's website address. And so well, first off, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about this. When did you post? When did you post this?
Oh, geez. It was around the first of the year. It could have been between January and March.
And with everything that has unfolded, not only, and this is also concerning John Teeter here, not only is it the immigration issue, but then you pull in the moves of Donald Trump over this last week, the upset that is going on with Mexico and the Miss America pageant, and throw in a few other things. The the flag issue now. Look, they're pulling down Dukes of Hazzard. We had the shooting in Charles. All of these racial issues, as well as the border issue, and this possibility of things really spinning out. Ferguson.
Yes.
Everything's the potential of things spinning out of control in this. I would have never thought that the Confederate flag would be an issue, because I think it's whatever. It's just a flag, number one. Number two, it's history. We didn't have any issues with the Confederate flag being on the generally in the 1970s. Today, it's an issue. This guy this kid that did the shooting at the church, he was holding up a Confederate flag. I get that. But what if he was holding up an American flag in those pictures? Are you saying that we can't raise an American flag now in the country?
Sure.
I understand. It's just a symbol. It's a Confederate flag. It wasn't a Nazi flag. It wasn't, it was a Confederate flag. I understand that. But what if it was an American flag? What if it was the British flag? What if it was a Japanese flag? Are things different then? So it was a Confederate flag. But for some reason, it is now this big, massive issue that the Dukes of Hazzard are. Are we really ready to pull up this dark past and these racial issues of our past that we have been working so hard to get past? And to make these issues today. Well, the way that you wrote this. It's so relevant today on July 1st in 2015. You wrote this 6 months ago. Who would have predicted that this is exactly what could be happening 6 months later, 7 months later after you wrote this? It's an absolutely amazing prophetic statement. It's absolutely amazing.
And I feel that there are forces out there stirring up the pot. They want this. They want us in chaos. They want us angry, and they feed on it. And that's what they want, more control of us. And that's what's going on worldwide with everything that's going on. They are trying to control us more and more. They're taking more and more of our rights away every day. And I know that gets into conspiracy theories. That's a whole nother area that we could go into, but
we can go right there. We can go right there. I don't have any issues with that.
Really? Well, I do. I think I'll call them the family of dark, because they are, they're cockroaches. They run from the light, and that's what they're doing. They're just creating this havoc, mayhem, if you want to call it, on our planet. And that's what they want. They want us in fear, and that's how they control us. Just like with 9/11 right away, we had to have the TSA there. We had to have, we couldn't meet our family and friends when we first got off the plane. We have to go to a different area, more control. It's just incredible what's going on. And who would have thought? And we could get into 9/11. That's a whole other thing. I had a dream about that the year before it happened.
About 9/11?
Yes, I didn't know it was about 9/11, but I'll tell you what I saw in the dream. It was just so profound and so clear and lucid. I saw this giant apple tree, and in the dream, the leaves started to shrivel, the apples started to fall, and suddenly the whole tree was just pulled straight down into the ground and disappeared. I woke up from that dream shaking. I thought, what in the world does that mean?
Right.
And of course, when 9/11 happened, what is New York known as? The Big Apple, right?
Wow. Well, I put that together.
It was symbolic.
I put that together real quick.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The Big Apple got pulled into the ground.
But I thought the way that it happened, that it wasn't what actually happened, what we saw, that there are so many lies about 9/11. And if people knew who was really behind these things, they would be very, very angry.
With I want to come back to 9/11 in just a second. The one thought that I don't want to let go here is, here in the United States, and I could be dead wrong, but my memory says that growing up here in the United States, that the Confederate flag represented the South, drinking, fast cars, Southern independence, an independent way of thinking, and those guys from the South, because, I'm from the North, that those guys from the South were just a little bit crazier than us, a little bit more fun than us. It just represented a rebel, the rebel flag, the just against the grain of society just a little bit. That's what it represented. It had nothing to do with race. It was never that. That is not. And now it seems like they're trying to change our minds for us, and trying to turn it into something that, we just thought it was kind of goofy and kind of funny. Oh, he's got a Confederate belt buckle. Oh, ha ha. But it was never a racial thing. And the media is trying to do that to us, and in a matter of a couple of weeks, it seems like they're succeeding and causing this divide in our great country when it doesn't have to be this way. And it just really makes me angry. And there's just, and if somebody comes back at me and goes, Jimmy, you don't get it, it's a racial thing. Well, you know what? Then it's worked on you too. It's frustrating. We don't need to go there. We're all Americans. It's not black, white, yellow, nothing. And what I try to say, Betsy, to my audience all the time, how could I think like that? How can I have that attitude? That's because I live here in Los Angeles, where I am the minority. I'm white, and I live in Los Angeles. I'm the minority. And here we have so many. It's such a mixed bag of wonderful cultures that live here: Chinese, Japanese, Mexican, black, white, red. It doesn't matter. Indian from Pakistan, Indian, Punjab to American Indian. We all live here, and we don't see that racial divide. We've had our issues here in L.A., but honestly, you can't be a racist and live in L.A. It's the wrong place for you to be, because you're not going to get along with anybody. So you might as well leave. So that's what I'm trying to say is maybe I've got rose-colored glasses on here and I'm not seeing it, but here in Los Angeles, we all get along. It's the same way up in San Francisco. It's the same way, Miami and New York. There's no racism in New York. And think about all of the cultures that live there from block to block to block to block. And so for the mass media to push racism in America and this Confederate flag thing and pulling down the Dukes of Hazzard. Have you ever, when somebody decides to pull that down, have you ever seen that TV show, Sir, Network Executive? It's making fun of the South. That's what that was, and we all laughed about it. It's fun. It's just wrong to suddenly push this racial divide on us, and I can't figure it out, and I don't know what the end game is here.
Well, Jimmy, what I think is happening, and they're turning us against each other. We don't trust anyone. There's a terrorist under our bed, like the boogeyman, under our beds. They're everywhere. There's children that are going to shoot us in malls, and we can't trust anyone. So they're going to have us turning on each other, and it kind of reminds me of World War II and Nazi. How the Nazis start turning everybody against each other, and they'd turn their friends into their family in because they were Jews, or it's turning into that. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I just imagining things?
No. And when you think, look, Betsy, you're so right on the money, because what this very, very fundamental thing that is going down in the Middle East, the very fundamental thing with that has been going on there for a long time, but that very fundamental thing about us against them, and everything that we are is right and everybody else is wrong and they must die, that kind of thing. Well, when you think, as ludicrous as that sounds, because it goes against our beliefs here, where here we have freedom of religion, and it doesn't matter. You can have a Christian church and a mosque and a synagogue right next to each other on the same street, and they do exist that way. It's just a way of life here in America, and we take that very freedom very serious, but it's also natural for us. But over there, that very thing that we take for granted here is not allowed. And if that spills over to here, into our country, then suddenly we're going to have this us against them thing here going on in the United States, which is what we don't want here. We want everybody to get along. And it is spinning out of control. It is like out of control. It is not. It's nothing that we seem to be able to get a handle on. And when you, Betsy, I want your opinion on this. There is when we have something like that over there, that it seems like we would have the strength of a few armies, Saudi Arabia's army, for instance, or Jordan. I can't believe that Syria couldn't wrap this under control. But then, we have the strength of the United States or Britain or France or Spain and Italy. There's other countries that could, Egypt, that could come and squash this, but nobody wants to. And nobody wants to step up and squash it. I find that fascinating. And then you look at something, exactly the same situation is going on in our oceans, where we have, 50-mile wide, you talked about this earlier, garbage heaps that are floating around the ocean, but yet we don't go and clean it up. We just let it sit there. Like we're letting this ISIS situation just sit there and ferment and cause these issues, and then we don't do anything about it, and we're a victim of our own procrastination, that we let Earth get out of control, we let society get out of control, we've let our oceans get out of control, and we have the ability. Why don't we send ships out with big nets like we catch fish every day, send those nets out and get this garbage under control and clean up our oceans? Right. Why don't we do? I don't get it. We'd rather sit on our hands and sit on our hands, or put our head in the sand and ignore it and hope it's going to go away. Well, it's not. Why?
I think sometimes that Mars is a reminder of a planet that was destroyed by a civilization, and maybe we were the Martians, and we came to Earth to terraform it and change it, and here we are destroying. We're planet hopping. We destroy a planet, we go to another planet. We destroy Earth, we're going to go somewhere else. And maybe that's what's been going on.
The grass is always greener, right?
Yeah, right.
So we came here and managed to screw this one up too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's next? The moon,
right?
Europa. Europa. Okay, I want to get to, we're going to be up against our last break, and then I'm going to beg you to stay on for a little encore. But I've got a bunch of questions here I don't want to ignore in Twitter. Barrett says, with so much happening in September, does Betsy see anything extraordinary happening in September?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know there's a lot of predictions on the internet about a big financial meltdown. And I know Alex Jones is talking about it. Get prepared, it's going to happen. I think something's going to happen, but I don't know if it's financial. I think there is going to be something. I feel it's more of an Earth event. And I'm still thinking that there's something that's going to have what I call the event in Indonesia, that there's going to be a mega thrust earthquake, and it's going to affect the whole Earth. I mean, it's going to shake the Earth. We're going to all be reeling from it.
So you're saying in between Australia and India and China, Indonesia, right there.
South Pacific somewhere.
South Pacific.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you think September is going to be a natural disaster it's going to be in the South Pacific and not necessarily the financial doom and gloom.
Right. I think that what's going on in Greece is going to have a trickle-down effect for us, because we all affect each other. Again, we're all connected, whether we realize it or not. We're all connected to each other.
Well, I've got some great questions coming up here
in
Twitter. Keep them coming, everybody. It is hashtag F2BQ. Let's take our last break and we'll ride this one out. Betsy, you stay right there. I've got some great stuff lined up here when we come back. I love audience interaction, Betsy. You're experiencing it for the first time, but when you come back, you'll be better prepared. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Bespoke radio for the masses. Tonight, Betsey Lewis is with us for the duration. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Attention, all Fade or Not. Studio Dome has a special deal on their SD1 Bluetooth speaker. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on their banner, enter the promo code Jimmy, and you get $40 off and free shipping on the SD1. It's voice activated, comes with a USB antenna, cables, and a carry bag. Never listen to your phone, tablet, or laptop speakers ever again. It's the only way to listen to Fade to Black. That's jimmychurchradio.com, Studio Dome banner, promo code Jimmy. Go Beckley Teppy.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
Hey, everybody, what's up? Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and check this out. The 2015 MUFON Symposium will be held this September 24th through the 27th in beautiful downtown Irvine, California. Expanding ufology, opening new doors in academia, industry, and media. Former Defense Minister of Canada Paul Hellyer will be there in person. Former CNN news anchor Cheryl Jones, TV news journalist Jaime Maussan, and MUFON's chief photo analyst Mark D'Antonio. They're just a few of the growing list of names for the 2015 event. It's September 24th through the 27th at the beautiful Hotel Irvine. Get your tickets today at MUFONSymposium.com. That's MUFONSymposium.com. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Fade to Black. The Wednesday edition, Femme Fatale Week. We'll wrap that up with Mike Barrett tomorrow night. Insert joke here. Mike Barrett's the man. You know my feelings about Mike Barrett. He is the man. All right. Tonight, Betsey Lewis is with us. We're talking about everything tonight, but certainly, Betsy, I'm looking at Twitter here, and it's the comments about Mother Earth seem to be dominating everything.
Oh,
and,
good.
So,
good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm so glad.
This is from Q Ra, and it is, could several million people all watching a television program at the same time exert control on the psychic medium?
Are they talking about a person?
Yeah.
Or just the whole? Okay. I would think that they could exert some kind of energy if they focused on the same thing. Sure. I would absolutely think so.
Let's see. Let's go to the next one. My question for Betsey Lewis. Have any scientists you have talked to corroborated pending quakes? How can we prepare?
Well, you know what? I haven't talked to any scientists. And the thing is, what I think is really ludicrous, what they're thinking. They think that volcanoes and earthquakes aren't related. And that's just like saying your arm isn't attached to your body. Everything is connected with our Earth. And when a volcano goes off, you can bet that there's going to be a huge earthquake. And earthquakes also actually produce these big volcanic eruptions that are going on. I've watched it. I've been watching the USGS monitor on earthquakes. I watch what's going on with volcanoes, and I see the symbiotic relationship with everything. So absolutely, they're all connected.
Let's see here. I've got so many.
I love it. I love these questions.
Yeah,
they're great.
They're great. It seems that all the planets are in some kind of transition. Can you ask if she sees anything pursuant to that?
Well, if they're talking about astrology, there's something more going on with all the planets because they've been warming. There's been a lot of different things that have been talked about, that all planets in our solar system are going through some big changes. And many people believe that Planet X is out there, Nibiru is out there. I think there is something exerting, the earth changes. It's causing the earth changes, cause and effect. There's something big that's going on with our planet. And even, there was a BBC documentary in 2012. It's on YouTube if anybody wants to see it, about Nibiru. And they have observed that there are things going on. In Antarctica, there was something that was caught on some kind of camera that they had out there. The Inuit Indians of the Arctic said during that time that they've noticed that something has happened with the Earth. They believe it shifted because the sun doesn't come up in the same place. These people are outside all the time. They observe the sky, the sun, and everything, and they've noticed that everything is not right. The stars are not in the right position, so something is going on. And of course, we don't notice these things because our heads are down usually. We're not looking up in the sky. We're not noticing all these things because we're so in tune to our cell phones and what's going on, and texting, and we just don't notice these things.
Yeah.
There's even UFOs out there every night, these orbs. If you get an infrared camera out there, you're going to see all kinds of stuff going on in the our skies.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the new trend is infrared and looking out and seeing. I've had so many guests on talking about that lately. I've got to get that hookup going. I did go, and I still haven't been able to definitively put my stamp on this and say, okay, this is what's going on. But I don't know who came up with Planet X first. I don't know if it was our own government and astronomers, or if it was Sitchin and the Sitchinites, or where this came from first. But it seems like that our own government and in an official capacity knew about Planet X and was tracking it and following it way before all of the conspiracy stuff flew in and all of the fringe researchers came in with their take on it. And if that is the case, well, they took it, they talked about it, and then they buried it, and then we figured it out after that. As soon as I'm able to really pinpoint this down, I think that is where we have a real conspiracy going on. A real conspiracy defined in Webster's dictionary conspiracy, like something serious is going on. This question comes in from Allison. She says, have you ever jumped timelines?
Oh, I think I have. I think sometimes when I see things, I have jumped into the future. I can give you an example of what happened to me. It was 1966, and my sister and I were living with my great aunt in Hollywood for the year. We were going to school there. I went to Fairfax, and she went to Christ the King Catholic Church school. And I had a crush on Mark Lindsay of Paul Revere and the Raiders because I had met them in Idaho, and I heard that Mark Lindsay lived in Benedict Canyon.
Right.
I met a friend who knew where he lived, and she drove me up there one day on a weekend. He was on Cielo Drive, and I rang the buzzer. There was a gated
God, that's
private
a nice.
gate
That
to
is
it.
a nice part of Los Angeles, people.
Yes,
You
yes,
need to
very
understand.
nice.
Yes.
It was a hill, it was a home on the hill,
Yeah.
very nice. And finally, there was a caretaker that came to the gate, and he said Mark Lindsay wasn't there, wanted to know who in the heck I was and why I was there. And I explained who I was, and he says, well, let me give you a tour of the house. And I said, oh, great. He says, well, he was living with Terry Melcher at the time, Doris Day's son, who was a music producer. You probably know that.
Yep.
And he took me through the house, and it was nicely decorated, but I got the strangest, horrible feeling about this house. It was just dark and foreboding. I knew something was going to happen, something really evil there. And 3 years later, 1969, it was September of 1969, Charles Manson and his followers killed Sharon Tate and friends there. Manson wasn't there, but of course his followers did that. But I had somehow seen, I felt it more than I just knew that something was going to happen there.
Wow.
And just eerie feeling. And when I think about it, it just gives me chills.
Yeah. Wow. Really?
Yeah, I know. Horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that house is supposed to have been haunted. Really weird things happened. The house isn't there anymore. They tore it down and a new house was built there.
Yeah.
But I've heard that Sharon Tate's ghost still lingers there. And
Yep, I've heard
there's been a lot of weird things. Have you talked to people about that?
I have talked to people about that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And what's weird is I've driven on Cielo Drive so many times, and you go by that ad, and you just look, and you know what? I'm gonna be straight with you. I don't like that street. I don't like driving by there, and it's just I want to use some really bad words, but it's just really messed up. It's like a bad vibe, and I would have never bought that property, and I would have never built a house on top of it.
Yeah.
It's a rich area. I mean, that's
it's
a
beautiful.
big money area, big money. And check this out. This comes in from Rick. Rick says, please ask Betsy if she has ever heard music but couldn't find it. If so, what kind?
That sounds like a riddle. I don't know what he means.
I think Rick is hearing some music and he
that's
can't.
Interesting.
And he can't find it, and he wanted to know if you were hearing music, and then he wants to know if you were, then what kind is it? Because maybe it's the same that he's hearing.
Well, I've had dreams of music. I've always loved music. But I've heard it in my dreams. But like I said, I love music. I like all types of music. So I don't know. No, I'm not sure about that question.
Okay. Dennis says our sun is going through a dust cloud in the arm of Orion. Flares up the sun, fires, arcs, and sunspots. And you've commented about this too as well. What's going on there?
With the sun?
Yeah.
Okay. We had several M-class flares that, and the sun shot off CMEs. And I always know when the sun is going to do something. I don't know why. I just feel it. But I think it's a great time when we get these CMEs and we get these incredible aurora borealises. That energy is coming in. It's just causing our atmosphere to be ionized, sit down on Mother Earth, take in that energy that we're getting from Mother Sun, because it's pure white light, and pure white light is knowledge. It's changing our DNA, and, just feel that energy, incorporate it, and then just send it out, change it into positive energy. It is positive, positive energy, and it's changing our DNA. It's changing Earth's DNA. And it's done that for millions of years. That's what the sun is all about. They call it grandfather sun. And, the indigenous people have always honored the sun because they feel it's got a consciousness too. So, I hope we'll all connect with all these things again. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Well, I know it sounds kind of new agey, doesn't it? But, with these beautiful people that I've spent with, I attended a lot of powwows during the 90s. I attended a couple of vision quests. I went to sweat lodges. And, I feel such a connection with Native Americans. And, what they're saying now is that the sky people, they call ET sky people, that they have been coming to them and telling us that there are going to be these huge upheavals with our planet, and that we have to get back to, just getting back to a spiritual consciousness again to save our planet. They warned that if we continue with the technology that pollutes and destroys our planet, we are going to see some bad things happen. And already we are. They've been told for years, the Maya have been told about these incredible things that are going to happen. And they say because they live off the earth, that they understand the earth and honor the earth, that they will be the ones that survive all these earth changes. And, right now, that sounds like a bad thing, but, change. We don't like change, right? We don't want any kind of changes. We want everything to stay the same, but nothing stays the same. Everything changes. And we are spiritual beings. If we die, we will incarnate again. I believe in reincarnation. We will come back. The earth has to cleanse itself, or it's not going to survive if it continues this way. There's 7.2 billion people on this planet, and we are using up all the natural resources. How can we survive if we continue that? There won't be anything left. The oceans will be overfished. There'll be nothing left.
Well, you touch upon one important thing, which is when we talk about the cabal or the Illuminati or who is running that corporate greed, that very thing, banking, money, profits, and no concern for you or I. When you're producing, when you're funding companies that build missiles, and those missiles are only useful to them when they're used and people die, so they can build more missiles and make more money. So they're sitting around, or bullets or guns, and they're sitting around tables literally discussing how to get another war started, because if we don't use these bullets, then our factories isn't profitable, so we need to make more bullets. The only reason to make more bullets is to use the ones that we have. Well, at that very the disregard for us, for you and I, and for the people that die at the other end of those bullets for no reason, that's who is controlling. That's the puppet masters. What can is the only way to get rid of them is to rebel against an uprise against the banking system and against the money to bring them down. There isn't any other way to really do it, and it isn't about spirituality, or maybe it is. I don't know what the answer is when it is such a global thing, when it affects Putin and it affects Europe, and it affects the United States, affects China, affects everybody that is above the countries themselves. And it's the banking system and war. And I don't know what to do about it. I really don't. It's frustrating.
I think there are spiritual beings that are watching over us. And, I think, we have to get back to a simpler life. Maybe if the electricity goes down, most of us wouldn't know how to survive, but maybe we need to learn to get back to a simpler life again, to, that way that we honor everything, that we, start finding ways to live in harmony with the earth instead of destroying it and everything that we do, the GMOs, the chemtrails and all these things out there, we've just got to stop it or we are losing our planet. And if she is going to awaken us with a huge earth event, if it's the shift of the earth's axis or what, perhaps we need that. And so we can get back to a better life. I know that there are new children coming into the world right now that are so evolved. They have a higher vibrational rate. They remember past lives. They see spirits. They're telepathic. They're, they just are so intuitive. They're just incredible children. They're not all like that, but there are many of them are, and many of them are the new children. They're the new form of where we're going with our evolution, I think. I think that the new being on Earth will be so highly evolved, will be telepathic, will have all these incredible gifts that, we're just not using now.
You said you made one bold prediction here, and it's kind of crazy. And you did this this way earlier this year, but you said that Jeb Bush is going to be the next president.
Mm-hmm.
Does it?
Well, it really doesn't matter who gets in because they're all the same. They're all the same people with the same agenda. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
if it's Hillary, it doesn't matter. If it's Biden, they all have the same agenda. They do. And I know people don't want to hear that, but it's true.
No, it's all money driven. But the funny thing about this prediction of yours is when Jeb first announced that he was jumping in, and he said all those stupid things, and he was independent. But we all know, he's his father's son, and he's his brother's brother, and it's Bush, and that's it. And it's one of the biggest fear now with this run. This isn't a political show, but it is a conspiracy show. And when you look at, I don't know how many guys are running right now for the Republicans, but it seems like there's 20 or 30 in the race right now.
Oh, I know.
And I just didn't think Jeb had a shot at it. I thought he was just a bit too much of a doofus, and he's got nothing original, and that's just the way. I just thought that people would see through this. But now it's not the prediction of anything, but certainly today he is the front runner. Mm-hmm. And I would have never thought, I really honestly thought that we had enough of the Bushes. And there's no way a Bush could possibly get elected. It would be impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But you made this prediction a long time ago, and here we are today. He's at the top of the heap.
And did you read the one I said about Hillary, that I felt that she was going to get in more trouble, that there are going to be many things that will start coming out about Hillary?
Yeah, you said more scandals around Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, look at it. Yeah. I saw something in the news about her, cell phone. I'm not sure what that story was. I didn't get to read it, but, I just saw that there's more things coming out about her, and there will be more. There's a lot that could come out about Hillary.
I don't know. This is one of the craziest races that, again, this isn't a political show, but I am such a positive guy. And I'm always thinking that this next president is going to make a difference. It's going to happen this time. This time it's going to happen. And I'm almost exhausted, and I look at who we have in front of us running right now, and I don't feel good about anything. And if it comes down to the point where I actually feel that Donald Trump is a good solution,
oh no,
we are headed for a really bad ride.
We are.
I don't know what to even think about it. And so Andrew Bishago is gonna throw his hat in the race. So there you go, Bishago. You never know. Thank you, Betsy, for coming on with us.
Oh, thank you, Jimmy. It's been such an honor to talk to you.
It was just a great evening, and
and I can't wait to have you on my show.
Whenever you're ready, you just let me know. I am there. I can only imagine how much fun we would have. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Betsey Lewis. Everybody, thank you so much, Betsy. What a great night, and what a great week, Femme Fatale week here. Thank you, Betsy. And, go to BetseyLewis.com. It's BETSEY Lewis, LEWIS.com, BetseyLewis.com. The links are at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Just go and have some fun, read through her stuff, and it's pretty interesting. And that's, when you look at when this stuff was written, and it's all there. And you just go through and read it. It's, some of it, okay, I get that. But some of it is absolutely chilling. And it's a very interesting read, and it's a very interesting website. And Betsey Lewis is the best. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. I didn't do that, so I'm not going to do that. Let's jump back to... Before I get out of here, I had a couple of other things I wanted to cover tonight. I didn't get to the Illuminati, or the dark web and the Illuminati, and we will do that on Monday. But there's a couple of things I did want to get to really quick. On July 17th, in 2 weeks, on July 17th, the Federal Aviation Administration will allow unmanned aircraft to deliver medical supplies to a free clinic during research flights in West Virginia. That occasion will be the first legal drone delivery on U.S. soil and represent another big step forward for all of us here in the drone industry. When I say us, I own a drone. It's 1 inch by 1 inch. But think about that. Over U.S. soil. For the first time, West Virginia, July 17th. Mark that on your calendar. Also, a new rule over domain registration of a website would prevent people from using a third party to sign up for a commercial website. In other words, people often use proxies to protect their contact information from the public. Particularly when you're doing a radio show like this, or you're talking about something, a little bit outside of the box, where you're able to conceal who you are and where you've been, and an assumed name and identity and address, post office box, Iceland, whatever. Under these new rules, people registering websites for non-personal purposes would have to disclose A, their name, B, their address, and C, their phone number, all of which could be easily searchable by anyone. Think about that for a second. Now, back to Baltimore. Yeah, I'm getting caught up. These are things I've needed to talk about. A former Baltimore detective has actually started tweeting daily examples of A, police brutality, B, false arrest, C, lying in court, which he said he has witnessed over the course of 11 years serving in the Baltimore Police Department. That's right. And his name is Michael A. Wood Jr. You can go look him up. He used 9 tweets last week to blow the whistle about things he had seen and participated in himself in policing that is corrupt, intentional, or not. You got to go and check out his feed. His name is Michael A. Wood. And I'm going to leave you with this. Coca-Cola, Richard Branson's Virgin Group, Airbus, Qualcomm, and a handful of other companies I don't need to announce, that they are backing an internet satellite company called OneWeb. That's right. They've all pulled together $500 million, ducks quacking in the pond, for the first round of funding. OneWeb, just like Elon Musk's SpaceX, wants to deploy hundreds of tiny little satellites in low orbit to bring high-speed internet and phone service to everybody without connections anywhere on the planet. And this is real and is happening now. This is Fade to Black. And we are about to fade to black. I'd like to thank Betsey Lewis for coming on with us tonight. Great conversation. I can't wait to do her show. I'll let you know. Fade to Black's executive producers Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Palm and Mark D. Kovar. LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, and Jonas. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Bateau, and Mark D. Kovar. Fady by Dale. Webmaster is Method of Signaling. Music is this guy right here. It's Doug Aldridge. Intro is Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planets. Tomorrow night, Rock and Rule Trivia. We'll be joined live in the studio with the one and only Mike Barra. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I want all of you to be safe. I'll see you tomorrow night right here. See ya.